Yep, nice and easy. We're done with that though. Isn't the jump rope? Yeah. Whenever I skip rope, I can't use these wireless headphones. They fall right out of my ears. So of course, it would be helpful if I could get the rope itself not to fall out of my hands. Finish my protein shake and then we'll hit this. New name, who this? Yes, sir. For those of you who don't know me, my name is BullMuscle. For those of you who know me as Beer Battered Ag, yes, I'm going through a rebrand. This seems like a pretty good time to talk about that, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm a die-hard Aggie.
The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. Sounds like hell! So goodbye to Texas University. We're gonna beat you all to chigger-a-ram, rock tough, real stuff, Texas A&M. Goodbye.
We get a little bit more all. So why can't I click all? Oh, yeah, there it goes. Nice. All right, let's do one more bronze bar. If you adopt the mindset, and this is a quote from Jacob Fisker of Early Retirement Extreme, if you know that guy, 10 points to you. But it's a quote that I find unbelievably poignant in today's era. Spending money represents a failure to solve one's problems by smarter.
Good morning, everyone, and it looks like the webcam is deciding to be uncooperative for some stupid reason. Again, why is it doing this all the time now? There we go. Something with having it as a 1920 by 1080 resolution makes it do that. I don't know why. Anywho, welcome on in. Good morning, everyone. Glad to see you work out while I rest from mine. Hell yeah, you already got it going. The trains in my town are getting longer and longer, and that's part of precision scheduled railroading, which is a plague upon the U.S. infrastructure. We need government action to stop that one pretty much immediately. Precision scheduled railroading makes rail artificially, it's a artificially uncompetitive business practice from the big four rail companies, and it needs to stop. It's barely railroading, it's certainly not precise, and it's, again, it makes the U.S. underutilize its rail infrastructure, which in the era where we're trying to cut carbon emissions is pathologically stupid. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Today we have bench, so we're gonna hit bench pretty hard. Kind of thinking about how I wanna do this. Part of me wants to see just how hard I can rep out 225, do the NFL Combine Challenge, and then kind of go from there. So maybe we'll do that, I'm not really sure. I don't know. Would you like to see that? I don't really know. I could just do my standard sort of 3 to 4 sets at 265 or 275. But I feel like I've done that a lot recently. A little change of pace, muscle confusion is always a good thing. Warm up first. Only 10 for one of the railroad tycoons. Yeah, Norfolk Southern is, I would say, Norfolk Southern and BNSF, they're all shitty. They're all terrible. But Norfolk Southern and BNSF are substantially worse than Union Pacific or CSX. They're just awful, really. And you know, if you believe in a free market, if you believe in a competitive if you're a good capitalist, if you believe in a free market conditions and competitive markets, the U.S. rail system is very much not that. It's two duopolies that have basically, they've basically created a cartel for themselves and flat out refused to do less profitable loads and really just focused on extremely heavy stuff that can't be efficiently transported by truck to the expense of everything else. So it's basically just coal. And that's fine, in terms of profit maximization, but the problem when you do that is that it artificially spurs on demand for trucking, and trucking costs the U.S. taxpayer way more money because we have to fund the roads and rebuild them because, well, what do fully loaded semis do to the roads? They destroy them. It's just what happens. So, a lot of the problems surrounding U.S. infrastructure and U.S. supply chain stems from the anti-competitive behavior of these four companies. Hey Ed, good to see you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment. Gotta move this. There we go. Move that right there. Should do. So yeah, we're gonna do bench today. Shoulder press, close bench, probably some dumbbell incline. Not quite sure exactly. Part of me wants to try repping out 225, seeing just how far we can go. Hey, King Nick, good to see you. Welcome on in. There we go. We're gonna move this over here. There we go. Much better. Much, much better. So, the cleaning of, the cleaning up of my house has started. Already gotten the kitchen done. The goal here is, I'd like to get, my goal is today to get most of it done. I'd like to clean out the garage. It's not as though it's super dirty or cluttered, it's just it could use a sweep. All the detritus has accumulated up in here from workouts, pulling the cars in and out, and the storms. So probably will end up doing that today. I already took care of the kitchen. I'm gonna try and take care of the living room at some point today. My bedroom's pretty good. I'm leaving Dodger's bedroom alone, that's her problem. Same thing with the office room, that's more or less Dodger's domain at this point, so I'm not gonna do that much of it. And then that leaves the bathroom. So it's moving along. So it's good. It's good. That's what I wanted to do today for this weekend, really. I wasn't planning on going out and doing a whole lot. I wasn't planning planning on having some big plan. My goal today is to try and do as much of that while playing RuneScape instead of watching college football as I can, because I really have been dreading this upcoming season, and that's not going to change. A double fist bump for you there. A Prism Fire. Good to see you in chat. So I see you're probably quite excited. Now that's going to be one of the best games of the day. The South Carolina Gamecocks, USC, are taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels, UNC, the Battle of the Carolinas. It should be a good game. I'm both rooting for and thinking the Gamecocks will win. I think South Carolina is going to be a pretty good team this year. I can very easily see them be a 9-3 team. I don't think they beat Georgia. I don't think they beat Tennessee again. And I think they either lose to Clemson or they have one inexplicable loss like they did to Missouri last year. Prism Fire, by the way, you need to get in touch with Dodger. She has extra tickets to Gamecocks games, and she does occasionally sell them. So you should get in touch with her, because I bet you'd have a blast, going up there and having fun with somebody else, at a game out at Willie B. I don't really know why she bought 2 of them. She knew full well I wasn't going, but that's her decision. But yeah, she's super into the USC scene. It's lovely in here today. It's probably no warmer than 70 out. It's maybe, I would say, upper 60s out, and in here it's probably low 70s, so it feels pretty great, which is, again, refreshing. Unfortunately, I thought this hurricane was going to sort of break the back of summer, and we weren't going to see any mid to upper 90s days again. Looks like I was wrong. We're going to have one more spell of it next weekend. So sorry, Severus, it's still going to be pretty hot and miserable here. Certainly better than Texas, but not by much. That being said, the good news is, even then, the lows are going to, I think the lows are finally going to permanently stay below 70 now. And that's a good sign, because that, for me, for these streams, the lows matter a lot more than the highs. If the lows are in the 60s, I can ventilate this space prematurely and get it at least a lot cooler than it used to be, right? When the lows are in the mid to upper 70s, the coolest this gym is getting is 80, and the warmer it gets, the harder it is for me to perform at a good level. So I'm quite happy about that. All right, so we're gonna just warm up. This is just 125. We're not going intense. This is warming up. Work the kinks out of my shoulder. And one more. Just let it sit there. We'll come up close for it. Warm up the triceps a bit. One more of those. That's good. That's good. Lately I've been training with the heat. You'll survive. Oh yeah, no, if you've been training in Texas, South Carolina won't be a problem for you. You will probably be, since you're not from like the Gulf Coast area of Texas, you'll probably note that it's a fair amount more humid here, but I'll put it this way. I would say if you took the weather of College Station and just ticked a few degrees lower, that would be worth it. That's this place. It's slightly cooler than College Station, but about as humid. And that makes sense, right? Because both this place and Aggieland are roughly 100 miles from the nearest major body of water. I'm feeling pretty pumped. Oh, UF, you're gonna have a Mickey season. Dude, I don't even think UF is gonna be Mickey right now. I think UF is just gonna be straight trash. I think right now, if I had to pick the 3 teams that are gonna compete for tire fire of the SCC, it's gonna be A&M, Florida, and Auburn. I think one of those 3 teams will have a good season. The other 2 are going to be hot garbage. There's very little ground with all 3 of those teams. I don't think any of those 3 teams will be average. I don't think any of those 3 teams are going 8-4. I don't think any of those 3 teams are going 7-5. I think those are teams where it's, 10-win game, or 10-win seasons or 3-win seasons, and very little in between. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, though. Yeah, if you've been training with the heat in Texas, South Carolina will be a breeze to you. You shouldn't have any issues with that. So, I wouldn't be too worried if I were you. Oh. There we go, I can breathe again. Oh. Needed that. So, what are we gonna do today? I think I'm feeling adventurous. I'm feeling like repping out on bench here and seeing just how far we can go. I'd like to think I can punch out 15 is the bare minimum. If it's a weekday, I'll hit 15. I would like to punch out 20. My PR is 22. I don't think we're hitting that. We'll see. I will say I weighed in at 207 today, which kind of made me happy because I think I weighed in at 210 yesterday, and a 3-pound loss. It's going to be more water weight than anything else, but I didn't quite hit my calorie target, but I think it was 25, 26, 2,700 calories, which, considering I did that big heavy leg day yesterday, means that I definitely ran in a deficit. And I'm not trying to cut, right? I'm trying to just lose a little bit. I'd like to be, again, 206 is kind of the target. 205, 206, with sort of an upper bound of 210 and a lower bound of like 202. Whereas right now, for the last few weeks, I've been floating around 210 with like an upper bound of 214 and a lower bound of 206. People think I'm crazy because I love pre-workout and the feeling it gives me. It doesn't make my skin crawl and my lips numb and ain't the one. Am I wrong for that? So what you're talking about, the chemical in particular that causes those tingles, those needles and pins, that's called L-arginine. Now the jury's out as to whether or not L-arginine actually supports increased workout performance. However, it is very clear that caffeine does support increased workout performance. So actually what I do is I have a big bottle of generic caffeine pills, and I'll take one usually every other workout. I try not to abuse it because caffeine, like any drug, is addictive, and you're better off, being able to function without it. So I try not to go overboard most of the time. That being said, if you like pre-workouts, go for it. A lot of the time the placebo effect can have some major benefits. For instance, right, if you've got the placebo effect saying, if you're feeling like, oh, I took my pre-workout, I'm gonna fucking kill this, as opposed to I didn't take my pre-workout, it's gonna be a tougher day. That in and of itself can give you the mental boost, because a lot of lifting really, right, what are you doing when you're trying to lift? You're trying to get just to that sweet spot of, tearing up your muscles, to get gains, but not so far that you're actually causing injuries. And a lot of that limit is in the mind. And if you find that, this is where the placebo effect can work very well. It's the reason a lot of people, there would be the jury is sort of split. A lot of people are super pro pre-workout. A lot of people are not really pro pre-workout. So it really depends. Buzzing Ranger, welcome on in. Okay, so this is 225. We're gonna wrap this out. Keep track of the reps if you wouldn't mind, just because in the heat of trying to lift it, I may lose count or miscount, and I'd rather be kept honest. Yesterday we 1 rep 390 on the squat. That was pretty good. So we'll see what we do here. I get the right song for this though. And I think for bench, my favorite is usually the live version of Toys in the Attic from, I think it was 1977 by Aerosmith. All right, so I'm gonna get ready to do this, so let's go. Strong like bull. think that was 18. I'll take that. I could have probably gone for one or two more there, but I got the whole rest of the workout to do. Probably not best to go all the way insane there. Hey, Nick says, how'd y'all get through the hurricane or tropical storm? We missed the brunt of it here. We got rather lucky. So I'm pretty pleased about that. We got some wind, got some rain. Thankfully, the post-hurricane cooler weather has relieved us for a little while. It's going to get back to the normal steam bath soon enough, but still, felt pretty good. I think I'm going to stick to 225 today. Definitely not doing a second set of 18, but you know. Let's just do 5 sets at 225, see how we feel. I haven't done that in forever. Oh, I already feel sore though. That's a good sign. If I can do 4 more sets of 10 on this, that'd be pretty decent. What y'all think? 18? Not bad? Jimmy Buffett cheeseburger in paradise. Ribs to the chillest man ever. No, don't tell me Jimmy Buffett died. Are you serious? Oh man. Wow. That sucks. Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, in his honor, actually, I want to quote from a different one of his songs. He went to Paris. Some of it's magic, some of it's tragic, but I had a good life all the way, and I'd say he did. A pint of good rum to a legend. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. Wow. He was out performing like less than a month ago. So I guess his health must have taken a turn for the south quickly. Although to be honest, isn't that how we all want to go? Nobody wants the slow, sad decline. I've said this so many times, I'd rather go the way my family's old last dog went. He was, for a Great Dane, approaching 10 years old, and that's quite good. He was walking out and playing in the yard, and heart attack, fell over on his side, and he was gone. And I think that's about the best possible way to go right there. Just no pain, no drama, no months of agonizing debilitation. Just God said, it's your time, come on up. And it's over. I've seen people, I've had this in my family, talking cancer, Lewy body dementia, not diabetes, but heart failure, and then lung failure. Some of which was due to genetics, some of which was due to personal choices, some of which was due to war. And it's definitely something to get you thinking. Boy, this got really philosophical really quickly. Yeah, cheeseburger in paradise for you. Not a song I would live to, but in this case, am I muted? Are you sure? It sounds like my mic is coming in okay. Let me check it. Properties. No, it looks like it's coming in just good. Telling us that might be on your end. We can move the mic closer if I'm quiet, if that's the issue. But I think that one might be on your end. All right, let's do this. Damn, that's, yeah. Try refreshing the page. Talio or someone else, tell that person to try refreshing the page. Since since they can't hear me tell them. All right, cheeseburger in paradise, I guess. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. Wow, that's tough. That wasn't too hard. All right. That's wild though. I didn't realize Jimmy Buffett passed away. The king of basic happy beach music. People like to, and the other cool thing about Jimmy Buffett, he was a brilliant businessman. The man created an empire from his music. And people could say, oh, that means he's a sellout. And it's like, dude, these are songs about partying on the beach. Were you expecting some deep social critique? What are you doing? Do you always press your legs against the ground with a bench press? Yes. Leg drive, for me, gives me a little bit more of an edge when I bench. It's not a necessary, but I found, like, okay. So, disclaimer, when it comes to bench press, as long as you touch your chest with the bar and bring it back up, I'm not one of these people, I'm not a form Nazi, I'm not the one who's gonna sit here and tell you, you have to keep the bar on your chest for a second. Just don't bounce it, obviously. Just touch it, right? And if you keep it under control, you should have no issue doing that. I would say just do that, and you'll be fine. But yeah, no, Jimmy Buffett made a multi-billion-dollar business empire out of singing songs about the beach and drinking rum. Like, that's great. Shoot, I kind of feel like I should go get myself a cheeseburger in his honor today. It's weird, I'm actually not a huge cheeseburger fan. I just prefer a hamburger. I think the cheese is often unnecessary. Let the beef be the star of the show. That's wild, though. Yeah, as far as leg drive, it's not necessary. So, my advice for benches, again, the only thing I care about is, does the bar touch your chest and come back up? You gotta touch your chest without bouncing it off your chest. If you can do that, first off, if you bounce it off your chest enough times, you're gonna have a nice little bruise here, and yeah, no, that's not what you want. So, if you can see a mark or a bruise here, that's not good. Now, you will see a small mark on mine because there's rust right here on the bar, and that rust will rub off a little bit, but it's very clearly not a bruise. There's the difference. They got to replace Bear on game day. Pick New Mexico today. He needs to fire his dealer. That crack is wacko Cox. Dodger, thanks for the resub. Welcome on in. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. Just played Cheeseburger in Paradise. I've never thought I'd have to play Cheeseburger in Paradise for a weightlifting stream, but that was very much appropriate. Dodge is up in Manhattan today. She might not be there yet, but I know she's going to be. She is going to meet up with the New York City Gamecocks Club to watch the Carolina Bowl. I don't know if there's like an actual rivalry trophy for that. It's an old ACC rivalry back from the days when USC was in the ACC, and frankly, I think it's two very balanced, like rather well-matched teams. I think Gamecocks Tar Heels absolutely has the potential to become a great rivalry again, and I don't see any reason. Like, if I'm South Carolina, I would try and make that a regular out of conference. They're a quality opponent. There's a lot of good regional, back and forth, and you can put it in Charlotte at the Panthers Stadium, which means both teams have easy access to it. The fan bases can commute. Battle of Carolina. I agree. I think you could. I think if the Gamecocks and Tar Heels were smart, they would really try to push this and make this a sort of a rivalry game. Again, there's historical legacy here because they were both ACC schools at one point. Why not? Yeah, I think it fits. Of course, the ACC now needs to find a new name because they've allowed Stanford, Cal, and SMU in, which makes no sense whatsoever. But college football's going down the tubes. Whatever. My goal is to pay as little attention to college football this year as I can, because again, I think A&M's going to be a 5-alarm tire fire this year. It's going to be bad. I could see New Mexico pulling it off. I don't think they will. I think this is going to be one of the games we win, but it's not going to be a pretty win. Ed Marino, what was your favorite cartoon to watch growing up? That's a good question. I'm going to do a set, and then because I need a moment to think about that. There are some great ones. Definitely, the seasons of SpongeBob before the movies are all-time greats, but there are other ones. Tom and Jerry, actually, I watched a shit ton of Tom and Jerry. It might be that. I really like Tom and Jerry. Yeah, that cartoon may have been from the 1940s, and yeah, it might have been really violent, but goddamn if it didn't make me laugh. It's the simplest premise: a cat and a mouse. All right, let me do a set. So, all right. I've had a moment to think about this. Ed, so I grew up in a military family. What that means is we got AFM, we got the base television, which means I grew up on cartoons. So I was born in the mid-1990s. So a lot of the cartoons I grew up watching were older cartoons that got licensed to play on base television. So obviously a lot of the originals, Tom and Jerry I already mentioned, but you know, Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, all the old cartoons from the 50s and the 60s, you know, Huckleberry Hound and Yogi Bear and Boo Boo and all of those. But even when we did get Cartoon Network, it was often the 90s shows. So Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory. Courage the Cowardly Dog was creepy but really good. First few seasons of The Fairly Odd Parents, occasionally we get that. That was not common. Cow and Chicken. A lot of those late 90s shows. Johnny Bravo was really funny. Stupid. Unbelievably stupid, but funny. That being said, I think there's really only one answer that I can say for my true favorite cartoon growing up. In 2006, we moved, so I would have been 11 at the time. In 2006, we moved to San Angelo, Texas. My dad was stationed at Goodfellow Air Force Base. And by the way, if I'm coming in quiet, just let me know. You know what? Here, is that an idea? Instead of yelling, in 2006, my dad got stationed at Goodfellow Air Force Base. And that's a small-ish city in West Texas. It's near San Angelo, Texas. And that is when King of the Hill became just another cartoon on TV to, holy crap, this decodes everything about this strange new state. Okay, so that just means my mic's quiet. Got it. Okay, well if my mic is quiet, while I'm talking between sets, I'll just hold it like this. So, all right. Yeah, just for what it's worth, y'all, we're going to fix the AV problems next week. One of my admins is coming down here, and he's going to really kind of take care of a lot of that. So hopefully a lot of the issues that have been plaguing this channel in terms of audio, which I get ceaseless complaints about, will finally end. I'm ready for that because I can't stand trying to fuck around with my audio live on stream. Because every time I change something, someone else tells me, no, you just made it worse. So it pisses me off. Anyway. So Ed Marino, to answer your question, I think it's got to be King of the Hill. Yeah, because those first couple years in Texas, King of the Hill not only made me laugh out loud because I started understanding all the jokes, but it also helped me understand how to fit into the culture a little bit better. Because King of the Hill, I mean, Arlen's set in a small town in Texas, and San Angelo wasn't much bigger. I was about to come on the audio that we're going to fix it next week. Bull said it before I did. That's correct. Grew up with Beavis and Butthead and The Simpsons, Ren and Stimpy, and Rocko's Modern Life. Yeah, my mom and dad did not like me watching The Simpsons or Ren and Stimpy. They were okay with King of the Hill, though, especially when we moved to Texas, because once we moved to Texas, they both found it unbelievably funny as well for the same reason. So we all like King of the Hill, and I still do. To this day, I'd say my favorite cartoon is King of the Hill. Yeah, and the other thing with King of the Hill, too, is it didn't rely on the same level of crass humor that South Park or Family Guy does. And that's nothing wrong about it, but it's also not, you know, I like that King of the Hill could make shows, and they did all the way through, that, you know, the comedy was in the writing. It wasn't just in, you know, usually it wasn't in slapstick, you know, then, you know, Bill would get kicked in the nuts or something, but still, you get the point. So Arlen is based on the city of Garland, Texas, partially. Arlen is based on the city of Garland several decades ago. This is because Garland, being a suburb of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, has now gotten quite a lot bigger than it used to be. DFW as a whole is the single fastest growing city in the United States, and there's, at this rate of growth, it could actually be bigger. The DFW metro area could be bigger than New York City by 2100. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because Dallas's infrastructure is hot garbage, but you know, if that does happen, DFW is going to have to densify. There's no other way to do it. You can continue expanding outward to a point, since you're on the open plains of central Texas, but that's going to create one hell of an urban heat island effect. All right, I see we got 30 people in chat already. That's awesome. That means y'all have earned handstand push-ups, and we are going really slow. I need to actually get some sets done instead of just dicking around and talking. Hank Hill, suffers from a condition called DGS. Pisses me off. Those are my initials. Mr. Hill, you have no ass. Whoa! I mean, just the writing in that show is so damn good. Also, all right, you know what? I'm going to do a set, and then I'm going to go on this tangent. I got to actually get sets done at some point. I'm enjoying this conversation immensely, though. I'm going to leave the mic closer to me. If this still isn't good, let me know. Oh, one other bonus mention for cartoons. The Wild Thornberrys, but solely because I thought Donnie saying gibberish was funny. And it didn't know at the time, but later I found out that Flea, the bassist from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Flea was the vocal actor for Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys. And I've actually watched a video of him just shouting gibberish the way he would for Donnie, and it's unbelievably funny. So Flea is a man of many talents. Anyway, all right, let's do a set here. Hey, Guppy Farm, sorry I missed that. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the bullpen. Here we go. enough, speaking of Mike Judge-based shows that were based in Texas, Beavis and Butthead was held in Highland, which was meant to mirror Midland, Texas, which is actually, that is West Texas. That's Permian Basin. Itchy Nurse, welcome on in. It's not the only trash fire in DFW. Ha, yeah. Understanding One, welcome on in. But yeah, King of the Hill, unbelievably funny. Okay, so I've got a tangent to go on this one. So I think with the untimely passing of the original voice actor for Dale Gribble and the rumors of a King of the Hill reboot, they would need to find a new voice actor. And I think I know the perfect guy for it. He is a man who almost inspired the original Dale Gribble in terms of character writing. He is a man who can spout conspiracies with the best of them. And frankly, he owes the Sandy Hook shooting families a lot of money anyway, so this would give him a way to get gainfully employed and pay back those victims. So I think it should be Alex Jones. I think Alex Jones is the only one capable of voice acting for Dale Gribble in a way that would be sufficient to continue the show. That's my hot take. What happened to the financial goal timer? Oh, that's a technical glitch. For those of you who were here at the beginning of the stream, for whatever reason, my camera was glitching out, so I had to delete that as a source. It'll come back. It's just not going to be there today. I mean, don't worry, I'm still very much on the FI goal timer. I forgot to put it back. I didn't have the time. So, anywho, let me update my journal. All right. We have one more set on bench to do. Then we're going to hit close grip, and we're going to get into the rest of the workout. Probably going to do, I think, incline with dumbbells, chest flies, shoulder press, shoulder raises, Arnold press, maybe some JM press, I'm not sure. Any shoke that makes a joke about WD-40 is gold. I mean, King of the Hill made many, so yeah. No, King of the Hill is one of the greatest cartoons ever written. By the way, ignoring that anomaly of a Canada episode, the original final episode where Hank and Bobby finally find a mutual passion in terms of grilling it's heartwarming. That's the difference. That's the difference between King of the Hill and Family Guy and South Park. King of the Hill could give you that optimism, almost faith in humanity type thing at the end of an episode in a way that South Park and Family Guy never do. Hey, King Mando 91, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the bullpen. Good to see you. Yeah, no, I think, I really do. I know it sounds like I'm dick riding King of the Hill here, but it was really that good of a cartoon. I genuinely think so. All right. So we are going at a turtle's pace right now. Let's pick it up a bit. There we go. Yeah, no, I love King of the Hill. It was a damn good show. I do hope that if they're redoing it, if they're coming out with a reboot of King of the Hill, I will say I've been impressed with the 2023 and 2022 reboot of Beavis and Butthead, and it sounds to me as though Mike Judge was involved heavily in that project and will be in this one, which is good. I think that's really necessary. So I'm optimistic for the reboot if it does still happen now that the voice actor for we've lost the voice actors for Luann, for Lucky, for Dale now. It's definitely going to be harder. Hey, King Mando, thank you very much for the first time chat. Welcome to the bullpen. Hope you enjoy. We're going to go ahead and hit 225 one more time. So far this weekend's been pretty nice. All right, let's do this. Last set. Then we'll do some close grip. We'll do close grip, we'll do JM. We might do skull crushers today as well. We'll see. Oh. Oh. All right, here we go. Last set. I want to get at least 10 here. Fuck. Damn. Ah, so close. Damn it. Ah. That's why you don't wear clips when benching solo. No. Fuck. Well, my chest is shot up. That's a good sign. Ah. Whew. Ah. That's frustrating. So close. I think I'd have got it if I'd psyched myself up just a touch more. Well, it's just a centimeter or two off there. Yeah, that's all right. That was my 5th set. I'm not too beat up about that. I think I'm gonna do shoulder press. I think I'm gonna do shoulder press. There we go. All right, come on, stay up there. I think I'm gonna do shoulder press and Arnold press in reverse today. Because we're gonna do close grip. I don't want to switch it all the way up for shoulder press yet. That's all right. We'll get it next time. But that's why you don't put clips on when you bench alone, okay? That's a safety measure. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. so can y'all still hear me, or am I really quiet now? I want to know. I'm kind of testing and experimenting with this. So that's the microphone right there. So I'm maybe 3-ish feet away from it. So it should still be picking up just fine. If it's not, let me know. All right, so we move to close grip now. I can hear you, but I put you on pretty loud. Okay, okay. Oh. We're pretty sore. I have to go down weight. That's low. That's okay. All right. Have the pointed end towards me. Okay, so is this any better then? All right. If that's better, let me know. If not, I'll just bring it closer. We'll make it work. Hey, Hava Titi, welcome on in. All right, cool. And I can try and bring it in closer. I'm trying to think of how I would do that. There isn't much of a way. Not while I'm doing dumbbell exercises anyway. All right. Second set of Arnold press. All right. Cool. Cool. Bang your head. Mental health of driving. All right, that's 9. All right. Female strong body. Hi, excited to see a fellow gym rat on here. What are you training today? Am I doing a push day? I am doing a push day. Clip it closer to you to have a tripod, push it there. Well, I'll just hold on to it like this in between sets. But thank you very much. Female strong body. Yeah, I'm something of a gym rat. I'm doing bench. So push day for me is chest, triceps, and shoulders. Welcome very much to the bullpen. Please stick around. I will say I love seeing women gym rats. There is this nasty myth perpetuated by both men and women on women that it is unattractive for women to lift. And if they have to lift, if they must lift, they've got to use these puny little 5-pound plates and do millions of reps. And that's just a blatant falsehood, right? If you're squatting heavy weight as a female, you're not going to get the same sort of bulk the way a man does. It's not how biology works. Now, you will gain muscle, but if you want that curvy booty that you hear about in a lot of rap songs, that's what squats will get you. So it's a pet peeve of mine whenever I hear the phrase, oh, I don't want to lift hard, I'll bulk up. And it drives me to distraction, just because this is one where it's gotten to the point where women are almost the worst offenders about this. Usually, anymore due to cancel culture, men don't say shit to women about appearances anymore these days. But it's very much the you can't lift, you'll bulk up and look unattractive. It's so often women telling other women that it drives me nuts. So it sounds like, based on your name, female strong body, it sounds to me as though you're rebelling against that bullshit stereotype, and more power to you. You go, sister. Rock on. But stick around if you want to help inspire others. Definitely can always use more female voices in the community, both here and on the Discord. So love to have you. You wouldn't be the only one. We do have a couple other women who actually understand that, barbells aren't evil. We're going to break that myth. It's bullshit. Everyone can become strong. You're so sweet. Yeah, 100%. Love to lift heavy. Hell yeah. Oh, and hip thrusts for sure. Deadlifts as well. I like the big three the most: bench, squat, and dead. Just because I think, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. But it's because I'm a big believer in compound lifts they should be the meat and potatoes of your exercise. The compound lifts will train not just your big muscles, your glutes, your quads, your hams, your chest, your shoulders to a lesser extent. If you're doing press, your lats if you're doing pull-ups, stuff like that. But more importantly, they'll train a lot of the smaller auxiliary muscles around, because take bench, for instance, right? If you're doing bench on a machine, you're not going to get the same amount of balance that you will with barbell. And hell, even better than that, in terms of balance at least, is dumbbells. So I try to throw in dumbbell chest as well, just as an example. Bo Christian, welcome back in. Your shoulders are really well developed. What do you do on shoulder days? Well, you're about to see, actually. I was doing Arnold press. I got to do a set of close grip bench first for my tries. So stick around. You'll see exactly what I'm doing. All right? Let me get some more quiet ride on. That's more like it. So typically on my push days, I do 30 sets. 10 sets on chest, 10 sets on triceps, and 10 sets on shoulders. Shoulders mostly being front delts. Rear delts I'll often hit on pull days, because I find that hitting rear delts with pull exercises tends to be easier. And people can critique and nitpick me for that, but that's right. Any exercise you're doing just to work primarily your rear delts is not going to be, nobody's ever going to sit there and ask you, bro, how strong are your rear delts? How well do you do the fly backwards on the machine? Ain't nobody going to ask you that. Anyway, let's do another set of Arnold press, which I really like for shoulders. And look, right, if it's good enough for the Austrian oak, it's good enough for you, and it's good enough for me. I agree with that. I'll do the same in my training. So for shoulders today, to answer your question a bit more specifically, I'm going to do shoulder press with the barbell. So that's going to be, right, sets behind, both military press in effect, so in front. But I also like every so often throwing in a set of behind the neck press. It hits a different section. It kind of hits the rear delts a little bit. So I think it's quite nice. Your mileage may vary. If you find that you don't like it, don't do it. If you find that it's awkward. All right. This is my third set of Arnold press. Ah. So is that the difference between a shoulder press, a military press, and a Bradford press? I actually never knew that. I always assumed the Bradford press was just a different name for military press. I never bothered to learn. Like, okay, the other thing I'll do is I call them shoulder flies, because if a chest fly is this, a shoulder fly should be that. But people tell me that's not what that exercise is called. They say it's some sort of raise. But as long as you and I can, my audience, you and I can agree on what it is that I'm doing, the name doesn't matter as much. All right, hang on, let's do another set here. Come on. All right, that's good. I can move the mic out of the dumbbell rack. It's called front raise, and I assume then that means those are side raises? Is that how that works? But yeah, for those of you who are new, I think you got to do more sets looking frail today. I actually did drop a little bit of weight, but fam, I've already done 5 sets of bench. I'm gonna do, see, I do 10 sets on each muscle for push day. That's 30 sets total. That's a lot. So you call these lat raises. See now, these aren't lat raises to me. Lat raises are these, when you have your elbows bent, right? Because, just slapping some shade. No, I appreciate that. No, I love that. The guys who come in here, that's lightweight, bro. They'll motivate. Sometimes that shit works. But like, I've never liked calling these lat raises because you're not working your lats if you keep your elbow extended. Now, if you're doing this, oh, absolutely you're working your lats. But if you're doing that, no, you're not working your lats. You're working your delts. Shoulder press, straight up. Bradford press is in front and behind, alternating each rep. Military press. Oh, well, cool. Thanks, female. I guess I learned something new every day. I've always wondered what the difference was, and now I know. Kick ass. Lateral raises, not lat raise. Ah, okay, not direction, not muscle grip. I'll be honest, that just sounds confusing. I'm probably going to continue calling them shoulder flies, even though that's incorrect. I will admit that it's incorrect because I know you're probably right. But like in my brain, just calling them lat raises doesn't, I don't like that. Who cares what you call it? Exactly. As long as we agree on what the exercise is we're talking about, it doesn't matter what the name is. Exactly. It's what you're doing that matters. Hell yeah. Dude, friggin' chat is on fire this morning. I'm loving the energy. Female Strong Body, God's Blanky, Severus, Big Red Fro, y'all. Ed Marino, y'all all kicking ass. Do you prefer baths or showers? Showers, because I live in the deep south and it's too fucking hot here to take baths. All right. Let's hit another set. This will be our last set on close grip. Here we go. 2, 3. Triceps are feeling pretty sore. All right, so now we're gonna do those raises, and we're gonna move this down. We're gonna do JM press. There's a guy by the name of Komodo Beats who had come in here and showed me this exercise. And I gotta say, I was skeptical at first until I kind of started working with it, but it works your triceps like a dream. And that's why I love streaming, by the way. This is a learning thing just as much as it is a teaching thing for me. I learn a lot from you guys. I'd like to think the converse is true. Maybe this is real. Now I wanna see what I want it to be, but it's still a mystery. Move the mic up here. So we're gonna do that exercise we've been talking about. And that's 15. Whew. All right. Now, in the interest of balance, I will put clips on this. And the reason here is that this is lightweight. This is only 95 pounds. JM press is not something you need to do at unbelievably high weight. That's not the purpose of the exercise. I have Bowflex dumbbells. How do you like the adjustable ones you're using? Dude, these power blocks, they fucking slap, dude. They cost a pretty penny, and I will always give credit and thanks to the community for supporting my channel, because y'all are the reason I was able to buy those. Hey, Luan Pataramos, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the bullpen. Just writing this down. All right. That's amazing. Yeah. Some of it came out of my own pocket, between you and me, but not all of it. So I'm very much on the financial independence track too, so I'm very careful with my money. I am I preach fiscal responsibility. I would have concerns and dumbbells slapped me. Not quite sure I understand what you're saying there. All right, let's hit JM press. So JM press is kind of a hybrid between there we go. The JM press is something like a hybrid between a close grip press and a skull crusher. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about. It's a little awkward to learn, but I can feel it in my tries. So you kind of have to be a bit further out from the rack. And again, lightweight. Definitely don't do this heavy. You'll hurt yourself. Ooh, I can feel that. We started to see this. I've done something sort of similar before. Yeah, I can definitely feel it. So the good sign for me is if later in the day, I just go and like extend and reach something and my triceps just, they seize, they lock up. And you can tell because that crease right here, hang on. You sort of see it, the lighting isn't perfect. There it is. The crease right here, if that band of muscle just tenses, oh, that means I hit my triceps good. So much of your triceps, you almost do skull crushers with the barbell. Oh, I will. I do that later. That'll come. Patience. We're nowhere near done. We got a lot of work to do. Yeah. This is fantastic. Female strong body. Out of curiosity, do you watch college football at all? Today's kind of the first Saturday of the season. Out of curiosity. Come on. Muscles be popping, I appreciate that. Yeah. Actually, this is a useful one. So yesterday, for those of you who were here for my leg day, y'all saw me do a Raider pull. And the idea here is you slightly bend your elbows. That'll do. You slightly bend, that's not gonna work. There we go. You slightly bend your elbows and you breathe and you expand your chest. What you're trying to do is pull your sternum to the bar. And when you pull your sternum to the bar, it expands the rib cage, gives you that nice barrel chested look, which is why my pecs look really good. That's my best feature by a landslide. I don't have cable on, although I watch sports from out with a fan. Baseball, football, tennis, and hockey are your go-tos. Oh, what are your favorite teams? Cat Bro, always good to see you. AKA Big Gabe, Mikey, aloha to you, mahalo. What are your thoughts about the conference realignments? Terrible. The SEC signed its own death warrant by letting Texas in. Texas is incapable of viewing themselves as an equal within a conference. They won't do it. And now I have a bias here because I went to A&M, so obviously I hate them, but you can ask any team from the Big 12 how they feel about Texas. It's the same fucking story. All right, let's do this at a JM's. Yeah, no, I am not a fan of college football realignments. But yeah, I'm always curious. I love seeing what fan bases my audience is a fan of. And move this for sides. AKA, I'm calling them side shoulder flies. Y'all call them lat raises. But first a set of JM press. Tried. I can't get no. Ba-da-da. When does Severus visit? Next week. Oh. Oh, my tries. Come on. missed. Woo, that was scary. Shit, I gotta rack it slower. Oh man, that could have been bad. Oh. Ooh, that was gnarly. Ooh, don't try that at home, kids. Don't do it that quickly. Is that substitute on an easy bar skull crusher? No, this is a JM press. It's a different exercise. We'll do skull crushers. It looks similar, but it's kind of a hybrid between close grip bench and a skull crusher. I'll do skull crushers later. You remember in Texas that TU, the big brother with A&M and Oklahoma come close, really treating the northern Big 12 schools like don't exist? Well, okay, so the SIPs, the Longhorns, are the ones that forced Oklahoma to choose between playing Texas every year and playing Nebraska every year. And that, Oklahoma chose Texas, and that rankled in Lincoln. Nebraska never forgave the conference for that, and that's why Nebraska left. Looks like a guillotine press. It's called the JM press. It might be very similar to the guillotine press. But no, that's the thing. Texas will only act as a equal until they have a good year. Once they have a good year, they will demand special treatment, and the SEC is going to rue the day. And here's how I know. I'm an Aggie. Okay, look, I know we're a cult, and we got that Texas bravado, that Texas arrogance. If you think we're bad, just wait until you've met the team with double the oil money, lots and lots of tech money, and lives in the newest version of Los Angeles. Seriously, Austin is so far up its own asshole these days that, bless your heart, rest of the SEC. You have no idea what you just signed up for. Anyway, let's do quote-unquote lat raises. All right. Set a piece of those. Will you grow out of that chest rug? Are you talking about the hair? No. I have never once in my life shaved my chest. I am not naturally very hairy. My genetics are Northern European and it shows. I miss the Keep Austin Weird guys. Here's what Austin's become. 10 years ago, Austin was an interesting city that had a lot going for it. Now, Austin has all the problems of Los Angeles. Extreme rent, traffic, homelessness, with none of the upsides. No mountains, no beaches, no beautiful women, none of it. Austin's a shithole. Seriously, that town's a fucking dump. I hate Houston with a passion. Houston's the worst designed city in the United States, and I would still rather live there than Austin. Like, it's not just that the Longhorns are in Austin. I genuinely detest that city. They imported all the problems from California, but none of the benefits. Let's get another song going. Let's go for a little Megadeth. Why don't you like Austin? Because I'm an Aggie is probably the biggest reason, but I just said, the reason I don't like Austin is because Austin has imported all the problems of California in the last 10 years. Homelessness, extreme housing prices, extreme rent prices, traffic congestion, poor public transit, and it has none of the benefits of a place like Los Angeles, the beaches, the mountains, the better weather. Austin's the worst of all worlds. It's a terrible place to live. I really strongly dislike Austin. And those are just all the reasons that don't have to do with me being an Aggie. Never been to Texas. I'd probably go to Houston to visit. Houston is a great place to make money, and that's it. If you were working oil and gas, Houston's very affordable, and you can bank shit tons of money, but it's not a good place to live. There's a reason Houston has an extremely high obesity rate, and it's because it's extremely car dependent, and the weather is armpit, literal armpit for 6 months a year. And I really do mean armpit. It's hot, it's humid, and it stinks because of all the petrochemical refineries. If you want a really genuinely enjoyable, affordable, and fun big city in Texas, you have two options. The first is Fort Worth. I like Fort Worth substantially more than Dallas. It's to me, it's the big city, but it's also still got that Texas flavor to it. It's got the stockyards. It's got a lot of that older architecture. I really like Fort Worth, but my favorite big city in Texas is San Antonio. San Antonio is wonderful. The hill country nearby on the outskirts is beautiful. You've got tubing on the rivers nearby in the Comal, the Guadalupe, the San Marcos. You've got the, everybody knows the Riverwalk and the Alamo, and yeah, they're touristy as hell, but they're beautiful, so why not? It's much more affordable than Austin. Yeah, the weather sucks ass in the summer, but it's Texas. It's gonna suck ass anywhere in the state in summer. That's just, you're signing up for that. But no city has better winter weather than San Antonio. It's perfect. I was born in Cowtown. Yeah, Fort Worth. So I really like Fort Worth and San Antonio as far as big cities in Texas are concerned. El Paso is also criminally underrated, but it's so far from the rest of the state that it's kind of its own thing. I've never been to Texas. Where are you from, female strong body? If you're game to tell. For what's worth, I'll show you guys. I currently live in the great state of South Carolina. I moved here from Texas. I may move somewhere else in the future. We'll see. Not sure if you saw this. A town of 5,600 I live in as a median price, $120K higher than SLC. Oh, Bozeman. Yep. So I'll talk about that. I need to do another set. Biggest, massive, best tasting Belgian waffles anywhere. Best Mexican food in San Antonio too. Here's what you do, okay? You want good Mexican food in San Antonio. Find one of the 3 major Air Force bases. They're all in the barrio, or at least that's what they used to be. I haven't been to San Antonio in a few years, but when I was there, they were all in the barrio. So anywhere outside of those 3 military bases, Lackland, Randolph, or Kelly, those 3 Air Force bases, you're gonna find janky looking people with bars, janky looking places with bars in the window, and you're the only white person in there. Best Mexican food of your life. Promise you that. There's also one really good place outside of Dallas, I know. El Paso shouldn't even be part of Texas. Texas screwed New Mexico out of land. I'm gonna go with skill issue on that one, New Mexico. New Mexico wasn't a state for like 70 years after Texas, so come at me, bro. All right, let's do another set on side raises or whatever these are. Hey, female, check out the Discord if you want more off hours. That's where I do a lot of hanging out. Got lots of advice, stuff like that. Either way, glad to have you hanging out. And keep fighting the good fight. We need more women who tell the truth about lifting. So, more power to you. You go, girl. All right. Last set of JMs. And yeah, I'm going slow here, but chat is popping this morning. Lots of wholesome content, good talks, a lot of people talking. But yeah, so Montana, as well as Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, has gotten flooded with Californians. And there are benefits to that, but one of the biggest problems is that housing prices have skyrocketed. Utah as well. And what has happened is there hasn't been enough supply to keep up with skyrocketing demand. And hey, to be fair, Bozeman is gorgeous. I can understand why people want to live there. It's in the mountains. Missoula's the same way. Beautiful, beautiful. But there's no, right, the smaller cities in Montana is a very empty state for the most part. It's not very populated. So there's not enough supply and housing to cope with the new demand. All right, let me do another set here. Careful that time. So here's one cool thing that Montana is doing, and I love this. The state of Montana has recognized its massive housing problem. And as such, the state of Montana has decided, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make our cities denser and more walkable and more affordable as a result without pissing off the people who like being left alone? Because that's a large draw to why a lot of people move to Montana. Well, this is good political sloganeering. What they said is the single-family exclusive zoning laws are, real estate agent voice, Montana isn't empty, it's spacious. That's funny. But what Montana has done is stated, oh, these single-family only exclusive zoning laws, that's a California idea, let's not do that. So it's basically, it's spinning, it's good messaging, it's good marketing. You have to know your audience. Native people in Montana hate Californians, they hate the entire state, and they hate the people that move from there. So by spinning single-family exclusive zoning as a California idea that causes homelessness and all that other stuff, by blaming it on the Californians, it's going to help get people more in favor of mixed-use developments, denser housing, and as a result, cheaper housing. So whoever came up with that as the way to spin, more dense, walkable cities, that was a stroke of genius. And I would say every state that borders California should look at doing the same. Utah should as well. Colorado, you name it. But that was, I read about that. I'm like, that's freaking brilliant. Because it's not, you got to figure out how to message things right to people. You got to understand, you got to speak people's languages, you know? Okay. Let's see, so we've done 7 sets of shoulders, 6 sets of triceps, and 5 sets of chest. So we need to do incline press. No, we're still gonna do 2 sets of skull crushers. Okay, yeah, we'll do chest flies and then we'll do skull crushers. That works. Yeah, Montana sucks, tell your friends. That's the same thing people from Washington say now. Oh yeah, don't come to Washington, it just rains all the time. Which, to be fair, in the winter it does, but like summers in Washington are ungodly beautiful. Like they are just next level. It's the same thing with Oregon. I just think it's funny. It's how you message the problem and how you message your solution. That's what matters. It's the same thing, right? It's what I wish the Texas Central would have done. Yeah, we're going to build high-speed rail, and we're going to do it better than California does. Turn it into a competition, right? If Texas were to build a bullet train faster than California, can you imagine how proud the average Texan would be of that? You just know. Because shitting on California, short of football, hunting, and church on Sunday, is practically the state sport. It's all about marketing. All right, let's do another set. Oh. That's 17, that's not bad. We'll do a second set of that. We're also gonna do skull crushers. Job hunting in Orlando and for remote work, but I'm expanding to Seattle as well. Seattle's a gorgeous place, but be ready for the rent. It's gonna be high. All right, skull crushers next. So the difference, okay, between a JM press and a skull crusher is as follows. With the JM press, it's a hybrid between a close grip bench, which is this, the JM press is this, and a skull crusher is this. It's less elbow movement. The skull crusher is pure elbow rotation. The JM press is elbow translation and rotation, and the close grip is purely elbow translation. So that's the difference. All three work your triceps, but it works it in different ways. So there's your answer on that one. I need to get closer to the bench. That was a bit far off. All right. So as far as moving is concerned, I may be in 2024. I wouldn't say it's likely, but I would say it's possible. We'll see what the future holds. 2023 will definitely be here in South Carolina. But again, it wasn't expected. I got some interesting networking opportunities over the last month that piqued my interest. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes. All right, so let's see. We've got 4 sets of chest left, 3 sets of shoulders left, and 3 sets of tricep left. So we're 2/3 of the way through the workout, and we're already an hour and a half in. We are going slow. Granted, I didn't start benching for like the first 15 minutes, so I'm really only about an hour and 20 in. Still, it's about a 2-hour workout. I'm just going so slow. That's how it goes. Who cares? It's Saturday. What else do I gotta do? Like today, my goal for the entire day, the rest of this is gonna be clean up and play some RuneScape and cook. So, yeah. Woo, that burns. All right. Worried that Cleveland is going to be the next Portland or Nashville. Many of my queer friends are moving there. Apparently downtown is being revitalized. In a few years, there'll be a skyline of building crane machines. Dude, that's great news. Okay. Right, a lot of people like to say, oh, gentrification bad, gentrification bad. Pump the brakes on that for a moment and remember how dire Cleveland's economic situation was 15 years ago. Remember, 15 years ago, Cleveland was losing jobs en masse. Buildings were getting boarded up. Urban blight was a problem there. The good thing about Cleveland is that it's still got really good bones in terms of transit to where Cleveland can densify again. I think it would be terrific. I think Cleveland is much more suited for growth than any of the other Sunbelt cities. I hope Cleveland gets a lot richer. It's a good city with good bones, and especially as climate change gets worse here in the South, cities like Cleveland, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Detroit could absolutely see a resurgence, and I think that's a good thing. Don't just rail against gentrification. I get, this, everybody's concerned it's going to mean housing costs go through the roof, but it also does mean that there are going to be jobs in Cleveland again. There's going to be economic growth. Wages are going to go up, just as they have in Portland or Nashville. Urban blight, right? Housing being cheap is a silver lining to the otherwise very gray, dark cloud of urban blight. You don't want cheap housing because your city's economy is in the toilet, which is what Cleveland's case was 15 years ago. No, you want growth in Cleveland. Now I'll tell you, as far as cities in the Midwest that are poised to be the next Portland or Nashville because they're a lot more sprawling and a lot more poorly laid out, Columbus is on that list. Columbus is the biggest city in the United States without any rail, and that's ridiculous. There's no reason that a city the size of Columbus should not have some rail transit. So Columbus do better, frankly. But no, I think if Cleveland gets that economic growth revitalized, that's fantastic news. I would I would welcome that news with open arms. I hope Cleveland sees a resurgence. I would say the same thing for any of those Rust Belt Midwest cities. There are two cities in particular in the Midwest that I think have fared deindustrialization the best. The first is Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh saw the writing on the wall in the 1970s. They said, okay, we got to diversify. Steel isn't cutting it anymore. Pittsburgh got really big into healthcare as a result and other industries. And as a result, Pittsburgh weathered the last few decades a lot better than the rest of the Midwest. The other one is Minneapolis. Minneapolis has dedicated a lot of its infrastructure towards cycling and towards denser development. As a result, Minneapolis is substantially wealthier than a lot of Midwest cities. So those two cities I would look to. If I was the leader or a citizen in a city like Cleveland, I would look to those cities as examples as what to do, and in some cases, look at other cities as examples of what not to do. Detroit. Although even then, that's not fair. Detroit's finally starting to tear down some of its highways that are no longer needed because the population's cratered, which is a good idea. Detroit built itself around the car and paid the ultimate price. Car-dependent infrastructure is not sustainable. It's terrible for a city's finances. All right, now we're gonna move to shoulder press, and we'll do incline on the dumbbells. move to shoulder press. Actually, no, we'll do tricep extensions of this, and then we'll hit shoulder press as our last exercise. This is already set up for tricep extensions. I might as well take advantage. What is it putting in place the highways are removing? I don't think that's been decided upon yet. I think the idea is to put housing there. And to replace, I think it's the idea is to replace the highway with like a boulevard, you know, like a 25-mile-an-hour street, and that's a good idea. I'm a huge fan of strong towns in particular. I like urbanism without any of the, you know, I like urbanism not because, you know, the main reason I like urbanism is because it creates more financially sustainable cities, not because of any left-wing agenda. The people who think every urbanist is some progressive soy boy from, you know, downtown, wherever really, city slicker who's never been out in the country couldn't be more wrong. There are loads and loads of urbanists like myself that are far more economically centrist or even in some cases right-wing. So it bothers me that the image of the urbanist is this, you know, this soy latte sipping, you know, glasses wearing a hipster that's just insufferable. Hell, as someone who lives out in the sticks, I want there to be a very clear divide between urban and rural. None of this ex-urban or suburban crap. There we go. Oh. Fuck the suburbs. As someone who lives rural, fuck the suburbs. The suburbs are unsustainable. They're artificially subsidized both by the rural crowd and by the urban crowd. And they're ugly. They're cookie cutter. They're traffic congested. They produce kids who can't go and play with their friends because you'd need a car to get chauffeured over there. They produce parents who gets overstressed because they have to chauffeur their kids to everything because there's no way for kids to walk to their own destinations. Tomofit, what are we talking about? Oh, I'm going on my suburbs rant again. I hate the suburbs. I'm a huge fan of urbanism because I'm someone who lives in a rural area and I want to keep this area rural. If you want to live in a small town, actually go live in a small town. Go live in a place like Hays, Kansas, right? Don't go live on some cookie cutter, cheaply built, car-dependent crapola infrastructure on the outskirts of a city. That shit's terrible. Don't do that. If you want to live in a small town, actually find work in the small town and become a pillar of that community. Don't move to Montana. Don't move to Montana. Stay out. We don't want you. Montana's gorgeous, and I think Montana has the ingredients in place to cope with the increase in population. I fucking hate HOAs. Another reason to hate the suburbs. Guess what doesn't have an HOA? Small towns. Small towns, rural areas don't have HOAs because we don't have enough money for that to be worth doing. My town is poor. Like, my little town in South Carolina doesn't have the money to be fucking around with stupidity like an HOA. Oh, is it Tomofit? Is it your birthday? Shit. I was wondering why it felt strange. I forgot to clip for this. This one's important to clip on. Whoops. Like, why is the left side feeling so heavy all of a sudden? That was ugly. I gotta focus, I gotta finish. Someone goes viral 5 years from now, Hayes becomes the next big city. I'm sure, look, all I'm trying to say is, all I'm trying to say is either live rural or live urban. Suburbs are gross. Man, where's the benefit? All you're gonna do is produce, like, if you're gonna say, oh, but the schools are good. The schools are only as good as the parents are willing to make them. The cornerstone of a good school system is how involved the parents are. I've been to good and bad schools growing up. It has no correlation to suburbs, cities, or rural areas. It all depends on how much the parents give a damn. It's that simple. Two, three, four. It was yesterday. Well, happy belated birthday to you, Tomo Fit. I was joking about Hayes. I agree the suburbs are not great compared to city and rural. Oh yeah, now I get you. I mean, hey, why not? You know, Kansas isn't a bad place to be. You get 4 seasons. They're extreme, but you get them. The cost of living's very low. Tornado Alley's moved south into Oklahoma, so you don't have to worry about that as much anymore. All right, let's do another set. I'm shot, man. I'm tired. Oh god, I gotta do handstand push-ups after this. Oh no. I'm gonna do abs before I do that. Ooh, my shoulders are screaming. I haven't even finished my final set. Good morning, Phoenix. Then Patel, welcome on in. Over in the Pine Barrens, there's still transit. So this is, I will give a lot of credit to the state of New Jersey. As far as states where you can live almost anywhere and get around without a car, New Jersey does pretty well. When are you headed up to New York City, Dodge? Now, if you are concerned about housing prices or lack of affordability in your city, town, or area, there are 2 things you can do to combat the problem faster than anything else. The first is to talk to your local leaders and remove single-family exclusive housing zoning laws. I'm not saying you gotta destroy every single-family home there is, but make it possible to build things like duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, cottage cabins, and 3/1s or 4/1s. It drastically increases density and it makes a city much more sustainable. The second thing you gotta do is remove, and the devil's in the details here, remove parking minimum restrictions and regulations. So that's, having, requiring garages for every new home built. That's requiring, a certain amount of parking spaces for a business, for instance. It's all sorts of stuff like that. Heard that one of my first ancestors was the first mayor of Montana town, and he might have met Mark Twain because he visited the town during his tenure as mayor. That's pretty cool. That's a neat little fact. All right. Let's finish strong here. We got one more set of incline, one more set of triceps extensions, and then 3 sets of shoulder presses. That's about gonna kill me. I'm gonna headed to New York at 5. I gotcha. Okay, you still got time. You enjoying being back up in the Garden State? How you liking it, Dodge? 1, 2, Hey, Dale's house. Thank you very much for the follow. It's totally random, but love the shorts. They are my teal shorts. I slept with the windows open. Yeah. Actually, it got into the 60s here. It's not going to stay this cool. Next week, when you come back, the highs are going to be in the mid to upper 90s again. Summer is not gone. We're going to see the 90s for another 2, maybe 3 weeks here. But then after that, it's gone. It's still a sight better than Texas. Lily color blue is a pretty color, that's why I said it. I hate the new laws that restrict single-family homes so strongly. It's multi-generational families, anti-polyamorous families, anti-platonic roommates. Yeah, it's like that's the thing, right? One of the good things about Montana is that Montana has very smartly labeled those single-family exclusive zoning laws as an invention of evil Californians, and as such, some Montana cities, I think Billings and Missoula are the 2 ones that have started, and maybe Bozeman too. Catbro, you can probably tell me. They've started upzoning things and letting things become, legalizing the ability to build duplexes or fourplexes. Billings is horrible. Why? This looks like a cattle ranching town to me. Kind of reminds me of Cheyenne. All right, so we're gonna do, this is shoulder press for this guy. We're gonna do behind the neck. One, two, three. Oh, yeah, the shoulders are shot right now. I think that's gonna be the only behind the neck we do. Oh. All right. So one more set on incline and then 2 sets on shoulders and we're done. Something in the water, Billings. Billings is Montana's Houston. Ouch. That's it. Oh, they're having Darius pick the games? That's fantastic. Old Darius Rucker. California, okay. California, as a Texan, I'm obligated to shit on California because it's just like the state sport, but California pisses me off because it's wasted potential. That's what California is. California could be the greatest place on earth to live, and it's wasted potential. It doesn't live up to what it could be, and that's what really rankles me about California. Almost all of California's own problems are self-inflicted, and that's on the state. That's on the people who live there. It's on the politicians who run it. In San Diego, the price of rent being matched or increasing BAH. This is a heavy military town. I don't know how if you're not military, you can afford $3,700 to $4,200 a month. So funny enough, Tomo, I want to talk to you about this then. One of the networking opportunities I've had recently is with, yes, the U.S. Nuclear Navy. I'm a nuclear engineer, so you can kind of guess why they'd want me. Well, one of the places they could put me is in Coronado. And yeah, I was looking at what the cost of rent is in a place like San Diego, and that, gives me, the 3 molars suck. I'm not sure I want to do that, just because the cost of living is shocking there, and there's no reason it should be. San Diego is a big city by land. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to make it much denser and therefore much more affordable. It's not like San Francisco. San Francisco is on a peninsula. There's no more land there. San Diego is still fairly sprawling. There's no reason house prices need to be as high as they are there. The only reason they are is because housing has been restricted to single-family exclusive, for a vast majority of the city's land, and that's not sustainable. And of course, anytime you want to build multifamily housing or denser housing, you get NIMBYs that come in and say, no, we don't want that. It'll ruin our property values, or it'll ruin the character of the neighborhood, which is just bullshit. I hate that. If you are one of those people who's like, no, I don't want more housing in my neighborhood. It'll ruin the character of the neighborhood. Fuck off. Get out of here with that. That's stupid. That's just it's NIMBYism. It's dumb. All right. Come on, let's hit 3 more sets. I'm dragging ass now. I'm pretty tired. Near Miramar, Coronado, lived in CV, National City, Mission Valley, and La Mesa. Yeah. I would have more reservations. I mean, the other places the nuclear navy, if I were to go that direction, would send me are Bremerton, Washington, which is substantially more affordable. It's not great, but it's more affordable than San Diego. Honolulu, which is about as bad as San Diego. And then Guam, which is a total question mark. San Diego, look, okay, the only solution to sky-high rent prices is going to be more housing. It's a supply and demand problem. San Diego's beautiful, therefore everyone wants to live there, but if there is a constrained supply on housing, that housing will go to the people who can afford it. That's just how the free market works. 2, 3, 4. All right, we got 2 more sets on shoulders, and we're done. So that's the thing, right? You would love to move to Pacific Beach or Ocean Beach, but that's the thing, right? Everybody wants to live there. Everybody does. So in a natural free market system, the limited supply of housing there will go to the wealthiest. So if you want it to be realistic to afford living in a place like that, you have to make it more dense. You have to build more housing. It's just that simple. There's no other way to do it. It's supply and demand. The only other way you can make rent cheaper is by artificially damaging your city's own economy so that way less people come. And no city would do that because that's just basically shooting yourself right in the foot. I will give credit to one city in California in particular for trying to densify. That city is Emeryville. Emeryville is a very small city just across the bay bordering Oakland. And it's small. So, right, anything Emory does is not going to fix the Bay Area's housing crisis. It's too small for that. But the fact that they're trying, the fact that Emeryville is trying to get as dense as it possibly can, that needs to happen. Just as an example. But like more cities in California should be following Emeryville's lead. Their mayor is really, really cool. He's very much pro cycling, which in any coastal California city, the fact that like 50+% of people are not using a bicycle as a way to get to work and back shocks me. Like, there is no reason to own a car if you live in a place like San Diego. You've got that kind of climate in the sense that, you know, it's the weather's never going to be bad enough to where you couldn't bike to work. That one blows my mind. It was really exasperated when the home loans were at 1% during COVID. Everyone who's renting got kicked out of their home because the homeowners was selling, essentially resetting the price of rent in a short 6-month span. I hate cycles in California. I don't understand how how all these California cities, I'll give an exception to San Francisco because San Francisco is stupid hilly, but I don't understand how a place like Los Angeles is not a cycling mecca. It doesn't, right? Okay, so Tomo, the reason cyclists are really fucking annoying is because the infrastructure for cyclists isn't there. If you go and look at, I like to point at Amsterdam as an example, but there are loads of other European cities. Really anywhere in the Netherlands in particular, you'll notice that there's segregated traffic between bicycles and cars. And the only place where bicycles and cars interact is where the road has been designed so that it feels natural to drive at a speed similar to what a bicycle would be going, 15, 20 miles an hour tops, right? The difference is, in much of the United States, we expect cyclists to share the road with 40 mile an hour cars. That doesn't work, and it's plainly obvious why it doesn't work. I'm a huge fan of cycling because it's the best of both worlds, right? Cycling solves congestion, cycling solves obesity, and cycling makes it a lot more affordable to live in a place. So I will give, and by the way, climate doesn't matter for cycling. The most cycling friendly city, arguably the most cycling friendly city in the United States is Minneapolis. And I mean, look, you gotta be a fucking baller Viking type person to go fucking cycle to work in Minneapolis in winter. I respect the shit out of people who do that. Like, the fact that Minneapolis is more bike friendly than Los Angeles or San Diego is a damning incrimination of those two cities. But seriously though, because I practice, I try to practice what I preach, that whole financial independence thing. Nothing will help you get to FI faster than going car free. If you can live without a car, I mean, that's saving you hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month minimum. Even if you buy a cheap, inexpensive used car, in terms of insurance and maintenance, and especially if you live in California where it's $5 a gallon gasoline, or electricity, which is also expensive in California, all of those factors make car ownership unbelievably expensive when you actually add up all the totals. And if you can avoid all of that and then simultaneously get extra exercise in your system by cycling to work, that's two birds with one stone, baby. That's a win fucking win. In a rich town like San Diego, it gets worse. Every goddamn 14-year-old has an electric bike and they drive in the street with no helmet too. So helmet laws are bullshit. I don't believe in helmet laws. And there's a very simple reason for that. Cycling per mile is no more dangerous than driving a car. And if we want to require cyclists to wear helmets, we should also require pedestrians to wear helmets. It's that level of silly. I personally would recommend a helmet here in the United States because the infrastructure for cycling is unsafe, but I certainly do not think it should be a law. I think helmet laws are counterproductive. The way to make cycling safer is more cyclists, because then drivers get used to sharing the road. Or better still, there's enough demand to where the city will build separate cycling infrastructure, which should be the goal. Cars and bicycles don't mix at speeds over 20 miles an hour. So on any street where it's faster than that, you need dedicated cycling infrastructure. I spend $400 a month on gas alone. Jesus Christ. I drive a Chevy Volt. I've spent maybe $100 this year on gas. Pedestrians in SLC lost their mind. They cross the street wherever and whenever they want, like humans did pretty much all the way up into the 1920s. Jaywalking was a crime invented by the automobile industry. The street is a place, especially in big cities, the street is a place for people, not for cars. I do feel quite strongly about that. We have built cities designed for cars and not for people. Well, it's not safe. The problem isn't the people, the problem is the cars, I promise you. All right, let me hit another set. down for making cities more walkable. So, people don't follow rules. That's fair. That's fair. Usually, when people aren't following rules about crossing the street, it's because the street has been really poorly designed. Nobody's going to sit there and wait, go all the way down half a mile to find the nearest beg button to wait to get across the street while cars are revving their engines at them. People are just going to take their chances and jaywalk. I agree. Being courteous as opposed to following traffic law is a bad idea. I would agree with that. Exactly. There are long areas without crosswalks in Salt Lake City. So the problem isn't the people jaywalking, it's the poor design of the stroads that make up lots of Salt Lake City. The problem is in the design. CSGO April, I live very rural on purpose. So do I. I'm an hour from the closest anything. Wouldn't be so expensive if I lived near civilization. You should be driving a very efficient car if you live that far out. Unless you're doing farm work, which I don't think you are. Right? All right. I'm not saying you have to get yourself a nice, a Chevy Volt. But if you want to live, if you are constructing a lifestyle, you're designing your lifestyle to require lots and lots of driving, you're going to want to do everything in your power to lower costs of operating your car. So pick something efficient. Don't drive a 10 miles per gallon Dodge Ram 2500 Power Wagon, my truck. Because I know people who commute to work doing just that all the way from Georgia, and they spend ungodly amounts on fuel, even where it's cheap here, and it's stupid. Brigham Young, one of the streets wide enough to turn a horse-drawn carriage and easily carried. Interesting. But even back then, the streets were still designed for people in mind, and hell, there were even streetcars. Okay, so now if you live on a farm, you may have a decent argument to own a truck, especially if you've got to haul animals and such, but I would recommend going with two vehicles. Go for your one very efficient commuter vehicle, and then go for a beater farm truck. One probably built no sooner than like 2005. Ideally, a 7.3 or a 12 valve Cummins. They're hard to find. They're hen's teeth these days, but boy howdy is that one hell of a truck. But even something like, an old Chevy 1500 with the 5.7, that'll get the job done. Or a square body. Need to learn. I'd love to build an ADU on the 5 acres we own. Hell yeah. Trucks and SUVs are terrible. I hate trucks and SUVs. Despise them. Detest them. There are very few instances where one of them makes sense. And here's why. Here's why I know. The people who do real work in this country, all right? The people who do real work in this country, your plumbers, your electricians, your HVAC tradesmen, your welders, what do they drive? They drive Chevrolet Express vans because the van is a superior vehicle class. Your mic is highly directional. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm holding it like this. We'll find a better solution next week when Severus comes down here. I will enjoy my Tundra. And that's fine. I mean, by all means, continue to use your Tundra as your farm truck. But dude, that thing must be getting no better than maybe 18 miles per gallon on the highway. Have you considered getting something more efficient to go to town with? One, two. Nope, I'm done. I'm cooked. Woo! Yeah, I'm absolutely shot. My shoulders are dead. Need a wireless lavalier mic. If you got that from Amazon, you might be able to return it for a refund. We'll figure it out next week, okay? It's not perfect, but look, okay, this is not a professional TV stream, all right? the audio is a work in progress, but you know, I am amateur here, right? This is Twitch. Don't expect it to be absolute like laboratory level perfection. I also have a Subaru, don't feel comfortable in a car. I like the idea of being on the ground. I haven't been in a car in over 10 years since I moved here. And that sounds very weird, but that's me. That's fair. Yeah, I saw that. It's a work in progress. I want to see if we can get this to work first, okay? All right. As far as your Subaru is concerned, improving audio quality is just trying to help with. Yeah, I know. It gets really frustrating when people constantly complain about it. I get it. It's not perfect. It is what it is. Just deal. All right. It will get better for the benefit of everyone. Yeah, I know. Just it starts to drive me nuts when, you know, right this far into a stream, I've heard the complaints. We're 2+ hours into the stream. There's nothing this moment I can do about it. We'll talk about it more on the Discord. I'm sorry. It does get irritating when that's the continued point of conversation. Haven't been in a car for over 10 years since I moved here. Look, okay. Ultimately, it's your choice and it's your money. But I would do a good hard look at comparing the cost of driving that Subaru versus the cost of something more efficient. I assume your Subaru probably gets around 20 to 25 miles to the gallon. Compare that with any newer hybrid or perhaps even diesel, if you like VW's vehicle, that gets 50 miles to the gallon. Determine how much money you'd save and say, okay, is that going to be worth all the hassle? And you can figure out, you know, take that money saved, invest it. What does that look like over 10 years, for instance? I just want to hear your lovely voice. I mean, okay, is this bad? Like, when I'm holding the mic, is this still bad? Like, is it too loud? Is it too quiet? Okay. If you're going to complain about the audio quality, don't just tell me it's bad, too. Like, that doesn't help. Tell me, you know, it's too quiet, it's too loud, it's peaky, it's, you know, all of that stuff. That helps a lot more than your audio quality sucks. And Cat Bro, I know you're not the one doing that, but you've seen people who come in here and just say that and then don't ever elaborate, and that really gets old. It's very directional and quiet unless you're basically kissing the mic. It sounds like it's in a box. I agree, using the laptop mic. So this whole setup was completely worthless then. Okay, good to know. Well, we're going back inside anyway right now, so I'm gonna do that. We'll move on. We'll come back to that. Actually, I need to de-rack. Stand by. Can you start a return for it? I didn't buy it. Ay, Dios mío. We're gonna go inside. You gonna do handstand push-ups still? Yep, that's what we're about to do right now. We're going inside. I'm not gonna do them in here. Too late? Nope, not yet. All right. Gonna set this down here, and we're gonna do our abs first, and then we're gonna do handstand push-ups. My shoulders need a little bit more rest. It's starting to get warm out, so we're gonna shut the window. We're gonna take off our shoes. Just sit and relax. And I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm getting pissy about this. It's just, look, I get it. All right. The constant complaining doesn't help. Giving me specific things about what's wrong with it helps, which y'all have done. And I get it, but there's nothing I can do about that right now. I believe that mic is designed to be mounted on a camera, and it is, and I have a camera mount right there. The problem is it doesn't interface. This little bit right here doesn't interface with the mount, so it doesn't fit. I promise, okay, next week it's gonna be better, all right? I'm literally having one of my mods coming here. He's going to work all of this out, all right? So just be patient, all right? Please. The constant complaining about it, though, does start to irritate me. Especially this far into a stream. I get it, all right? Not trying to be mean, not trying to be nasty, just... I get it. I get it. Here we go. Let's start abs. So we're going to do our holds. Oh. Then we're going to hit handstand push-ups, and it'll be good. I will switch it back to laptop mic after this. I'm tired of playing these games, so I will do that for tomorrow's stream. Don't worry. Actually, tomorrow's stream will be on the tomorrow's stream's gonna be on the big tower computer anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, and planks. Oh, we're gonna turn that down just a bit. There we go. Just streaming, man. A lot of the tech is jank. I get it. Let's move on now, please. It's starting to really piss me off. Just stop talking about the mic for a little while. God damn. I get it. It's bad. Let's move on. Can we talk about literally anything else? I quit my job a week ago and got sick the first day I was off. Wasn't when I wanted to start working out again. Dude, that's tough. That sucks. I'm sorry. All right. All right, here's what we're gonna do. There, we're back on the laptop mic. All right. Hopefully this is good. If it's not, live with it for the rest of the stream. All right. I promise you, as annoying as it is for you guys, it drives me fucking bonkers. I hate technical issues. It just pisses me off so bad. So this is the best I can do for this stream. We'll live with it, okay? It's not the end of the world. Moving on. It's fine, just please, can we talk about anything else? Anything at all? Ooh, this hurts. Talk about those abs. Like the floor mats too. I need more floor mats. This little thing's nice for me to do ab exercises in here. Is there any particular games you're looking forward to today at CFB? Honestly, I'm dreading this season. I think A&M is going to be a 5-alarm tire fire, but I'm looking forward to the game North Carolina, South Carolina. That should be pretty good. I'm thinking that'll be really good. I want to see, it's the first week of the season, so it's mostly going to be tune-ups. But that should be a really good game. I know Utah kicked the shit out of Florida. That was wild. Oh, my abs. Oh. Whew. Oh, that hurts. Okay, so we're doing here, those are leg raises. The idea is to get the lower abs here. And it works. It feels like it got punched there. Whew. Yeah, that's the whole idea. So with these ab raises, right, you keep your knees in front of your hips when you try to raise up. You try to curl with your lower abs. Take your hands, get them underneath your butt. These are just basic old crunches. Hey, John, welcome to the bullpen. First time chat, good to see you. Welcome on in, you too, Rainbow. C-Lab University versus Bikini Bottom A&M. Yeah, they're gonna play in the Bubble Bowl. All right, time for handstand push-ups. I'm gonna get myself my protein first, then I hit it. All right. Redeeming a pec bounce, kind of protein. Do you like the best? I'll talk about that after we do handstand push-ups. This is gonna hurt like hell because I just finished a shoulder workout. I guess
There's nothing fancy about protein powder. I buy the generic Costco brand stuff because it's cheap. Whey protein is just very convenient for getting enough protein into your diet. That's really the only reason you should buy it. It's no better than any other form of protein. It's just convenient. All right, let's do this. Come on. 1, 2, 3, up. Oh. That's all I got today. I'm shot. Of course you couldn't hear me. Okay, so we've been having mic issues all day, and you're new to the chat, so I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna try my best to contain my anger about this. It's just audio has been a massive problem child recently, and I'm at my wit's end trying to correct it. So we're gonna turn this up a little more. Hopefully this works. Okay. Please stop talking about it. All right. Could I lift you up at 110 pounds? I could fucking throw you at 110 pounds. I've taken my brother. That's fine. You didn't do it. You didn't do it. Taking my brother who's 175 and put him over my head. In fact, I've put that picture on my Discord, which you can check out here. Okay, so protein. This is just basic whey protein. I got it at Costco. There's nothing fancy about it. All right? It's just convenient. That's why I have it. It's nothing here. Actually, I've got the bag right here. Just basic Costco brand whey protein powder. There's nothing fancy about it. It's not that great. It's not that bad. It's just cheaper than most other alternatives, and I can buy it in bulk, which is good because I go through it fairly quickly. Nothing fancy about protein powder. You shouldn't try to make protein powder fancy. I don't want to spend extra money on that than I don't have to. There are birthday cake protein powders, all sorts of special flavors and shit. Go to any GNC and you'll find them. It's mostly not worth your money. Just get basic chocolate, buy it in bulk, and go from there. I used to do Elevation, the Aldi brand, because it's also cheap. Not all protein powders are created equal, but for the average Joe, the differences within them isn't going to matter. All right, to put it mildly. They have like Fruity Pebbles flavor. Like, if that's your thing, if you want to pay more for it, more power to you, but I don't. What I will do though is I do chocolate protein powder, PB Fit peanut protein, and then either water or milk depending on if I'm bulking, cutting, or maintaining, and it tastes like a chocolate peanut butter milkshake, and I like that. Ugh, so much better. Okay, so as far as protein is concerned, that's more or less the gist of it. Strawberry, chocolate. See, I don't like strawberry. Strawberry tastes artificial as shit to me. Cookies and cream probably wouldn't be too bad either, especially if you're mixing it with milk. If you're bulking, there's no reason you shouldn't mix it with milk. It's a perfectly easy thing to do. All right, so we've now reached the Q&A section of the stream. So ask me anything. This can be related to the fire, my plans to fire, retire early at 29. Due to technical glitches, we haven't been able to get that working, the countdown clock back. Actually, I could probably place it on here. Let me see if I can get that loaded. Maybe I can. Nope, not showing up. Actually, what if I did... Hey, there it is. We're just going to drag that down here for now. Water for cutting, milk for bulking. I mean, I love skim milk. Well, okay, I love whole milk. Skim milk is what I put up with when I'm looking to get decent protein in fewer calories. If I'm bulking, dude, like I go ham on milk. I will drink close to a gallon a day with no problem. But if they're on sale, I won't mind whatever the flavor is. Yeah, that's sort of how I do it. In general, right, I try to keep my costs of food down. I generally keep my food costs around $200 to $250 a month. I could cut it probably down to $150 if it was just me living here, but there are some things my roommate likes. No, actually, that's not true. It'd probably stay about the same because I'd probably buy Less meat, but I'd probably buy more fish and more fresh vegetables. So it'd probably come out the same. Ooh, I will tell y'all what I ate last night. I made a big pot of seafood pesto with shrimp and scallops and pesto and homemade picked basil. And what I did with it, instead of spaghetti, which is what I love, I love pasta so much, but it's a lot of carbs and a lot of calories. So I spiralized up a zucchini. I kept it raw. Why did I do that? Well, if you keep it raw, it doesn't cook down. And if it doesn't cook down, 30 calories worth of spiralized zucchini eats like 600 calories of spaghetti. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why that's a good idea. What's your go-to fish for protein? Like salmon, I wish. Salmon here in the southeast is very expensive. Around here, it's catfish. That's just what's local. I will sometimes get tilapia if it's, frozen and at a good price, but typically it's catfish because, again, catfish is affordable. I'd like to eat more fish, but it's so expensive even living in Florida. I can find catfish very cheap here for like under $2 a pound a lot of the time. Look at konjac noodles and give them a try. Can you post that in my Discord? That's a good idea. Actually, we're inside. I'll use my other computer. Turn the camera a little bit. Use my other computer. I'm going to look that up. You say konjac noodles. Other good protein options are, I love mung dal beans. Mung dal is good for any curry in particular, and it's extremely protein dense for a plant-based food. Strongly recommend looking at that. That's a good one. What are konjac noodles? Shirataki noodles. They're made from the corn of a yam, or the corm of a yam. Huh. Let's see what the nutrition is. Skinny pasta. Wow. So for 100 grams, it's only 10 calories. That's fantastic. Shoot. That's pretty dope. I've never ever seen that in a store, but I'm gonna have to look out for it. Thank you. That's actually really helpful. So I assume that means you probably buy them. Where do you find them? Like, would I have to go to like a Publix or somewhere fancy, an Asian market? I've never seen them in a Costco or an Aldi, I'll tell you that much. Do I have to go to Wally World? Might be worth it. I might have to take a look at that. I love that chew texture of pasta. It's so good. By the way, I don't know if we've hit 50 in chat, but if we have, I will do the splits. Just letting y'all know. I think I've seen 48 as our highest. Just figured I'd mention that. All right, there we go. Maybe not there at my local. The brand is Nasoya. See if it. I have to write that down. Give me a second. Konjac noodles. Walmart. $2.50 a bag. Oh, did we hit 52? Interesting. $2.50 a bag. Nasoya brand. I'll have to take a look at that. Thank you. That's actually super helpful. I love noodles, but I have to be not very, but like I have to be a little bit more conscious of how many I eat. Like I could fuck up an entire bag, like box of spaghetti, like a 2-pound box of spaghetti, 3,000 calories just of straight pasta, maybe a little bit of Parmesan cheese over the top. I will fuck that shit up, fam. It makes bulking really easy. I will say, I love bulk cycles, but there's a reason I only do about one a year because, I mean, I can put down 5,000 calories like it's nothing. We did it 4:35. All right. I trust you. Splits it is then. This one always hurts, but I need to get better at stretching anyway, so why not? Oh. Oh. Woo. Ouchie. That's always pain. They smell weird when you open the bag. Rinse for about 5 minutes with cold water and chain them off and dry cook them in a pan on high for a while to dry them out. Interesting. Okay. So it's not, so you wouldn't boil them the way you would boil, say, spaghetti? That's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed. Oh. Nasoya Light Zero Shirataki Fettuccine Pastas is called. They have spaghetti style. Oh, it's already cooked. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that. That is very interesting. Figured I'd go ahead and mention this to you guys. No, wait, did I do that earlier? Did I tell you guys where the potential job opportunity might be for me in 2024? I forget if I had said that or not. Oh, I take my socks off for a moment. Let my feet breathe. Oh, stretch out my chest. That's pretty sore. I'm going to be really sore tomorrow. My legs are killing me right now, honestly, because I did that for yesterday's workout. Stretch out the tris. Oh, Boss Dog 330, welcome. Thanks for first time chat. Welcome to the bullpen. It's already talked financial independence. Can give you guys an update on that. I'm just under a tick under 80% of the way to being financially independent. What does that mean? It means I could retire at any time and not need to work another day in my life, assuming I kept my expenses to what they currently are. It's a good feeling. Whether or not, okay, so the whole thing, financial independence is linked to early retirement, but it isn't a default that means I have to retire. So it gives me the freedom. That's what I'm after, the freedom, the power, the control. You mentioned it briefly, but didn't say where. Okay, so for those of you who don't know and didn't read the bio down there, I am a nuclear engineer by trade. I got a mechanical engineering degree, but I've been working in the nuclear industry for several years, and my wheelhouse is nuclear grade regulations and, in particular, nuclear grade ventilation. Ventilation, of course, is the last. It is the last gasp. It is the last line of defense for preventing radiation releases to the public in the event an accident occurs at any nuclear facility. So ventilation is very important in that regard from a safety perspective. Moreover, yes, so one of the things I did about a month ago was I took a trip up to Boston, Massachusetts. And at Boston, it was at a training regarding high-grade HEPA and particulate filtration. Filters are obviously a very important part of nuclear ventilation. The only other industry that uses those high-grade HEPAs in the quantity and scale that nuclear industry does are really, really high-end medical facilities because you need ways to keep clean rooms clean. So I did a lot of networking with a lot of folks up there, including some guys that work for the Navy. And they have lots of opportunities and they're looking for more nuclear engineers. The trouble is, in the United States, the nuclear industry really got punched in the mouth by idiots on the civilian side and the end of the Cold War on the military side. As a result, there's a lot of guys in their 60s and 70s who are the guys who built everything decades ago that are aging out of the workforce, and there are a fair amount of young guys like myself, but very little in between, which means there's a lot of growth opportunities, and there's a lot of people. Honestly, a lot of the nuclear industry is poaching other people from within the nuclear industry, be that defense or civilian. For instance, my current workplace, now that Plant Vogel is about to go online, a lot of the construction people that worked on building Plant Vogel are probably going to move over here because there are some projects over here that require nuclear grade welders, electricians, pipe fitters, concrete makers, things of that. Everything that's nuclear grade, because of the extreme, and I really do mean extreme, regulatory environment around anything nuclear in this country, you have to have people who understand those regulations and can build items to nuclear code. It's a very important thing. So, regarding what I do, well, nuclear ventilation's pretty. It's not a common skill set to find. Moreover, you can kind of imagine that based on what I do here, I can't talk about everything I do, but the government trusts me to work on that project. As such, the military likes getting other nuclear guys, from Hanford site or INL or any of the other nuclear sites around the country. WIPP out in New Mexico or here in South Carolina. And the guys at Boston that I met from Naval Nuke were from Bremerton and Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. And the four major places on the Pacific for naval, there's a fifth one on the Atlantic, but that's Kings Bay, Georgia, and that's not that far from here. I'm not really interested in it. That would be a lateral move. I don't really see why I would bother. I'd rather stay here in South Carolina if it was that. But the other four, I was talking to a lot of the guys out there, primarily Bremerton, Washington, and Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, talking to them about potential jobs and networking. Now, nothing's serious yet, and there's no guarantee anything comes of this, but they definitely wanted me. They were definitely, the guys I talked to, we hit it off really well. We really, that Friday night, we all went out and got dim sum. It was a good time. So I got to talking with them a lot. And when I went up to Washington a few weeks ago, I got to meet a lot of the Bremerton shipyard people. So as a result, there may be an opportunity that presents itself there somewhere in the future. My guess is, based on how bureaucracy works, if it were to happen at all, and again, it's still not likely, it would be in 2024. So in the short term, nothing's going to change for this channel. But if that comes into play, it may result in changes in content, scheduling, and the overall character of what we're doing here. Because, well, if I move halfway across the country, with Hawaii halfway across the world, it's definitely gonna be a little bit of a difference between what I do now and what I would be able to do in a place like that. So it's a whole lot of ifs right now, but I don't think it's smart to let opportunities pass you by. There's nothing that I don't get hurt by listening, right? And that's really what I'm doing, is I'm listening. And it sounds like there are some pros and there are some cons. The pros are that, well, okay, I'm a total beach bum, and Pearl Harbor is basically heaven on earth in that regard. The cons, I mean, there are obviously a bunch of more pros, but that's the biggest one on the list. For Bremerton, the pro would be that I'm very close to my family, particularly my mom, which would be really nice just because right now she's all the way in Washington and I don't get to see her very often. Hey, Fritzbox, thank you very much for the follow. Firewolf says, Bull, did we make wine? I will go and show you guys the fermenter actually in just a moment, but I'm going to finish up on this. Changing content because you work out less, or you have to adjust your FI goal to Hawaii level expenses. So, yes and no. So we'll talk about Bremerton and Pearl because there would be differences between the two. Bremerton is in Washington State, and I'm as much as a beach bum as I am, and oh yeah, I am. I also love going and hiking and, exploring mountains and all of that stuff. And Washington State has loads and loads of amazing nature to go out and explore. And don't get me wrong, South Carolina is gorgeous and it has lots of stuff to do. The trouble is, in the summers here, the heat and humidity doesn't ever stop me, but the insects do. The mosquitoes and the gnats get really aggressive here, to the point where it becomes downright unpleasant to go outside. I still do it because I believe in, mind over matter. But like the mosquito population here is equivalent to what it would be like in parts of sub-Saharan Africa, India, and Cambodia. That's not good. Anyway, fermenter tools and tips. Yeah, well, I promise we'll get to that. So, but on the con side, yes, here in South Carolina, my cost of living is notoriously low. The only problem with the Pacific Northwest, rain. I mean, sure, but right, the ass tier months in the Northwest, which is usually winter, are like the ass tier months here in the summer. No place is perfect, but Solace, welcome on in. As far as any move from here, my cost of living will rise, and it will rise dramatically. It's no secret, right, that I live like a king, at least in my perspective. I live like a king on under $20,000 a year here. I'm not going to be able to replicate that anywhere else. Now, someone put in some article, some ridiculous article that said the average single person needs $113,000 a year as a living wage in a place like Hawaii. Now, I get that it's going to be a lot more expensive than South Carolina, but that is a patently ridiculous figure. The reason being is that I know most people in Hawaii who are single don't make $113,000 a year, and it seems evident to me that they still live. So there's got to be something going on there. I think one of the biggest problems is you need to learn to adapt to where you're living. And this is something that doesn't get talked about very much. For instance, when I lived in Texas before my move here, I ate a lot more beef because beef was cheap. Now here in South Carolina, I've switched to make pork my primary meat. Why? Well, because South Carolina raises a lot of pigs and Texas raises a lot of cattle. It makes sense. Eat what is inexpensive. Don't go and buy imported shit. That's just one example. But as far as, changing content because you work out less, I would never work out less. But if I were out there, right, it's not like I'm going to have a garage. In all likelihood, I probably wouldn't have a garage that I could build a gym in the same way that I have done here. I'd probably still keep my power blocks. I'm not sure what else I'd keep gym equipment wise. I'd have to figure that out. But the workout content would definitely have to be adjusted. The other difference is, right, if I'm working as a civilian at a naval shipyard, I'm going to have access to naval-based gyms. And in Hawaii, right, that's Pearl Harbor and Hickam. It's a joint base. So you've got both a Navy and an Air Force gym there. And the military, one thing I adore about the military and have ever since I was, growing up, the military takes fitness seriously because you got to be fit for battle. As a result, the gym facilities are usually pretty good. Even the Marine stations have pretty decent weights. It might be a little bit more rusty. You might have to eat crayons as your pre-workout if you're a Marine, but still, you'll have barbells, you'll have deadlift platforms, you'll have a squat rack, you'll have a bench press. But there's no way I could stream that on Twitch. I'd be on an active military base. So we'd have to come up with some sort of compromise on that one. That's again, so many ifs and in the future, but it is something to think about. Saturday stream, bike ride later. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to go for a bike ride today. It's lovely. We're getting a brief respite from the steam bath that is normally the southeast. It's going to be in the mid to upper 80s today. It's going to be beautiful. Node 257, thank you very much for the follow. So I will go and grab the fermenter now. Joining a gym bowl, will be splitting a membership thingy with my dad. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna have to talk about this first. That makes my heart sing. So my dad passed away due to cancer in 2020, but every so often, when he could make time out of his work schedule, we would go and lift when I was in high school and in middle school, and I'd usually lift alone on weekdays, but then on weekends I'd meet up with him, and lift over lunch, and I miss that. I do. I know he'd be proud of me, at least in terms of how strong I've gotten. Are you going to see Nikki Haley on my bike ride? God, no. You kidding me? She ain't going to come out to the sticks. She ain't going to come out to my neck of the woods. Sorry for lost your dad, Bull. Look, people always ask, are you upset that you lost him when you were 25 years old? And I always say the same thing. No. I'm not upset that I lost him at age 25. I'm grateful that I had 25 years in the first place. And the reason being is that was his third bout with cancer, and he had beaten it the previous two times. And the previous two times were before I was born. So the fact that my dad was tough enough to do that twice is the reason I exist. So I'm already grateful for the fact that I fucking exist. Always be grateful for that. Be grateful that you were given the ability to read, to see, to look, to breathe in the air, to be human and to be alive. Always be grateful for the life you've been given. But as far as lifting with my dad, it just taught me a lot. My dad was a warrior. My dad had that mindset. He made it to GO in the U.S. Air Force, and he was very much still a family man. My dad would make time for us. I learned a lot from him. I'll put it that way. Anyway, let's go get the fermenter. Oh yeah, FM says military gyms also mean fit military folks. A side bonus. Damn right. Not to mention, right, in Pearl Harbor in particular, Bremerton would be like this too, because you've got, Bremerton, as far as dating is concerned, the dating scene around here sucks. It's not very good. Look, the obesity rate's about 40%, and I don't think, for someone who looks like, I look like this, I don't think it's an unfair or unrealistic standard to say I'd like to date someone who's in decent physical shape. If I hold myself to that standard, I think it's reasonable that I hold a date to a similar standard. Moving on from that, in Bremerton, if I were to move there, the dating pool would be, Seattle. And it's just a short ferry ride over to Seattle. And Seattle's got loads and loads of people to meet. Seattle's one of the least obese cities in the United States, as is Honolulu. Honolulu, you've got the beach girls, you've got the sailors, and it's also both of those are much more pro-LGBT places, which is great. That makes life a lot easier for me. He raised your right, man. I appreciate that, Solace. Let's go and grab the wine fermenter, because I do want to show you guys that. So stand by. Huck this piece of shit across the room. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. Oopsie daisy. Opa! What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is grape juice that's fermenting. Beach dudes are sad they didn't make your list. Remember, beach dudes definitely would make my list, but let's talk about this first. So, what is this? This is a bunch of crushed scuppernong grapes. You can already see it starting to turn a bit more wine colored and start seeing separation. Actually, what I'm going to do now is mix it. So we're going to take the lid off, including the bung. Ooh, yep. Starting to smell boozy. It's going to take a few more days, but definitely not bad. Paul's going to blow out some PTs. Oh, for sure. So we're going to move this down here. We're going to grab our mixing spoon, and we are going to churn it a little bit. We're going to stir. But this is, there we go. Mix it in. Now, what I am going to do crushed? Yeah, it is crushed. It just looks like it isn't because it's at the top. Is that one not crushed? Hold up. Nope, it is crushed. Cool. So, what am I doing here? Well, what I'm doing here, this is my primary fermenter, and the idea here is that I've crushed grapes. Nope, these are all grapes. These are all scuppernong, Carolina scuppernong grapes. It's a native grape to the Carolinas, eastern Georgia, and southern Virginia. They're delicious to snack on, and they also make a decent wine. So I've got about, this is maybe the first mash. This is probably about 3 gallons worth. And I reckon it'll probably make about 1 gallon worth of actual wine. Right? Because the seeds, the stems, well, not the stems so much, the seeds and the skins mostly, those get filtered out. And once it's filtered out, you go from there. So this is not quite wine yet, is what I would call it. So we're going to actually taste a little bit. Get a little bit of the juice. All right. So, it's not very alcoholic yet. Tastes a little bit of booze, but not as much as a traditional wine. It's still quite sweet. What I will do, right, if I'm going to continue to do this, stir it and taste it every other day, usually. And if it starts getting too bitter or too sour early in the process, I will add a little bit of extra sugar to keep the yeast alive. So how does winemaking actually work? From a chemical process, it's quite simple. First off, you have to have something with sugar in it. Usually this means fruit, and usually this means grapes. You crush the grapes to create juice, and then you add yeast. What does yeast do? Yeast converts sugar into alcohol. That's the process. You let it ferment, and then usually you age it in a barrel. Now, I don't have a wooden barrel, so I'm not going to do that step, but it tastes pretty decent as long as you drink it relatively soon once it's finished fermenting. So we already crushed the grapes. We did that a couple days ago. We did that on Thursday. Now we're letting the grapes ferment, or well, we call this the must, really, at the top. This is the must. We let the must ferment, and as the must ferments, and the juice will slowly turn into wine. Then we got to filter the wine out from the must. So we filter it, and then we put it in a secondary fermentation barrel, which I have over here. This one is made out of glass. This one is made out of plastic. The reason being that you want to use the plastic fermenter first. Now, why would you want to do that? The reason you'd want to do that is because primary fermentation is where the majority of the alcohol is going to be produced. Well, when yeast turns sugar into alcohol, it also produces carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide will put pressure on the fermenter, right? If you did primary fermentation with glass, there's a little bit of a risk it could explode. You don't want that. So instead, you use a plastic fermenter and you use a lid with a bung and a bung hole. And I'm not going to make the TP in the bung hole joke. We did that already on Thursday. I am Cornholio. And what I've done now is put a little bit of neutral alcohol in this little plastic device up top. And what it does is it allows, as carbon dioxide gets pushed upward and tries to escape, it escapes through this right here to keep things steady. Anyway, so that's about good. Don't really need to do much with it, frankly. There we go. Press that down. We go ahead and put this back. The other thing with letting wine ferment is that wine prevents the alcohol from escaping together with the CO2, kind of. Not really, but I'm not very good at explaining this. Anyway, a small bottle is probably what's going to get me pulled over at the CBSA checkpoint. Ha! Well, Helv, you live in British Columbia. Now, if British Columbia is anything like Washington, you have blackberries growing everywhere, and you could absolutely make some good blackberry wine. Here's the fun thing about wine. We've been making it as humans for pretty much as long as we can recall. Thousands of years. It's still disputed as to where wine was invented. Some say Egypt, some say Georgia, some say Tunisia, some say Greece. We don't know. So the fun part about that, I'm gonna move this, there we go. The fun part about that is we've been making wine since antiquity. And in antiquity, people made wine from what they had. Obviously, in places like Greece and Italy and Spain, it was grapes, because grapes are what grew there. But you can make wine out of anything that has sugar in it. Tomato wine. You can make wine from any sort of berries. You can make wine from pineapple. You can make wine from oranges even. I've even seen key lime wines. I've seen wines from cherries. I've seen wines from, you get it. Honey wine, well, that's mead, but it's basically the same concept. Really, what you're doing when you take this same process and you do it with grain is you're getting beer. The difference is that grain has a lot less sugar in it than fruit, and as a result, it's going to be less alcoholic, which is why wine is usually stronger than beer. Will, good to see you. Yeah, good morning, afternoon. It's just about noon, isn't it? So, yeah, Honey Wolf is basically mead. Yeah, it lets the CO2. It's for pressurization, basically. That's the main reason. Anyway, I'm gonna go put the fermenter back because fermentation happens better in darker areas. And my bedroom has blackout curtains because I like sleeping very dark. I don't want any light in my bedroom. When I turn the lights off, I want it to be pitch black. I don't want to be left the fuck alone. So it's also, as it turns out, a very good place for wine to ferment. So we're gonna go and put it back, and then we're gonna continue answering questions. So chat, continue to ask away. Ask about anything, financial independence, winemaking, lifting, diet, exercise, any of the other hobbies I do. I'll be happy to talk about it with you. There we go. Telio, doesn't alcohol evaporate very easily? It does at elevated temperatures, but it's 76 degrees in here. You don't have to worry about that at room temperature. The best knockout I had was at 10 p.m. PT last night. So worth it. What's a knockout? Are you talking about like I don't know what they're. I don't know what that's referencing. Anyway, I need to write down my protein. Shake, 380 calories, 64 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat, 17 grams of carbs. After you retire, your job in Hawaii or Washington could be a beach. I mean, I imagine I'd make a pretty decent lifeguard, you know, running in slow motion out there. I feel like that'd be pretty good. Me going to bed, got it. So the truth is, if I end up going the Washington or Hawaii route with the nuclear navy, it probably means that I don't retire the second I turn 30. Because I'd probably want to work there at least a couple of years, and I turn 30 in 2025. My guess is what would happen is, yeah, because my cost of living would be elevated, the amount I'd need to become financially independent would also be elevated. However, if I'm working longer, it's not going to matter as much. That was all savings I never expected. And the thing is, right, I could still do the whole van life thing, which I've thought about for a long time, just, you know, cruising the country or even the world, doing travel, slow travel, for very little money, about as much as it takes for me to live here. In other words, I'm still financially independent in the sense that I can still go and be a van lifer anywhere beyond 2025, if that's what I want to do. But if I get to a place like Washington or Hawaii, and again, it's a lot of ifs, there's no done deals there, and I find that I like it, there's no reason I can't keep working. And if I do that, I'll probably become a millionaire before 35. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to all the followers because we've had a bunch of them today. That's been awesome. The chat's been wildly good today. I apologize for getting frustrated with the AV. That's just my temper, and I need to be better at controlling that. So apologies for that. That's 100% unacceptable by me. It was just pissing me off, and that's my problem. I got to work on it. I'm human just like anyone else, and that's part of why I chose BullMuscle as a name. Sometimes that temper rears its ugly head, and I'm gonna paw the ground a little bit. It's 9:10 a.m. PT right now. So I want to say thank you to the new followers: Node, Fritzbox, Dale's House, AV555, Luann, Female Strong Body, King Mando, Guppy Farm, and Talio. Welcome back. And Mascot Plushy Boop. There you go. This is Ferdinand the Bull. This is the new mascot. So Ferdinand says hi. Boop. Did I miss a meltdown? No, not a meltdown. I just got pissed off to the point. I got pissed off to the point where I took the mic that wasn't working very well and chucked it across the house. Had a PB cookie edible today. It was nice, and I'm ever burping. That's funny. Have a good one. All right, Talio. If you got to take off, thanks very much. Ooh, I forgot Rainbow the Pandamancer. If you're still here, I owe you a peck bounce, and I want to make sure you're still here before I do it. I'm gonna get a little bit of water. Need a kiss to calm you down. Nah, that's not how that works, fam. Trust me. God damn it. South Carolina problems. There's a fucking roach in my sink. Gross. Hey, 598678203. Thank you very much for the follow. I had to get some water. Sorry about that. Mouth's getting pretty dry. The Scuppernong, not quite wine yet, was slightly astringent, which is a good quality. You want that in a red wine. That's the tannins and all that jazz. I'm no wino. I'm not. Wine snobbery gets old. Thank you very much for the follow there. I'm just going to call you numbers because you got lots of them. All right, Rainbow, if you're still here, I was going to give you that peck bounce. Hopefully you are. If not, someone clip this and then can send it to Rainbow. So today is chess day, so let's go. In honor of my Aggies, who are playing the University of New Mexico today, they're playing the Lobos. I'll go ahead and do a peck bounce to the war hymn. So hullabaloo, connect, connect. Hullabaloo, connect, connect. Goodbye to Texas University. So long to the orange and the white. Good luck to the dear old Texas Aggies. They are the ones who show the real old fight. The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. Sounds like hell! So goodbye to Texas University. We're gonna beat you all to Chiggarooga-rem, rough, tough, real stuff, Texas A&M. There you go. I'm surprised the Lobos are still Division I too. Them and the New Mexico State Aggies they really should be FCS, honestly. I don't think they're competitive with most of the rest of FBS at this point. But there are quite a few schools that have a very tenuous grasp on being an FBS program at this point. I think there are certain football programs that have no business being FBS, and some that have no business being FCS. North Dakota State. Look, if you've won like 50% of all FCS championships in the last 20 years, maybe it's time to consider going up to FBS. All right, see you around, Ed. I would love a buzzed ag stream again. I'm trying to cut down on my drinking, especially because this fucking team is going to make me want to. So we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. Rip Jimmy. Yeah, rest in peace to Jimmy Buffett. That's a shame. The ultimate beach party music. But his music, his legacy will live on in every parrot head, in every guy getting drunk off of rum, in every guy chilling at the beach, and in every trashy white alcoholic girl from Jacksonville, Florida. Associated football. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to relegation and promotion to college football. I feel like that would be pretty dope. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't think it would ever happen, but I think it should. Because right now what happens, what you've got is a perverse incentive system where Conference USA is the bottom man on the totem pole for FBS. And to stay alive, what Conference USA does is just raid the cabinet for new FCS teams to bring up to FBS. And that's not really cool. Like, come on. We know what you're doing. Cut it out. You're not fooling anyone. Like, Conference USA should have died already. But the fact that it's, again, if you're cannibalizing FCS schools to keep yourself afloat, are you really an FBS conference? And are you really trying to be competitive with the other 9 conferences? I guess I should say 8 conferences. Rest in peace, Pac-12. Pack watch, Bozo, you will not be missed. Conference USA is worse than the Sun Belt? Oh, far worse. The Sun Belt usually puts up a good team every year. In the past, it's been App State. In the past, it's been Coastal Carolina. The Sun Belt's got some decent teams in it. But yeah, in general, Conference USA is pretty trash. It's Conference. So the Sun Belt. The Sun Belt has never had issues with potentially going under. Went from the Pac-12 to now 2-pack. Ha, yeah. 2-pack lives on. Yeah, if Oregon State and Washington State get absorbed into the Big Ten, we can actually say Biggie killed 2-pack. But I stole that joke from the U-Tree server. 100% will admit that. Pac-12's bell is tolling for this season. Prepare for it to die. Good. The Pac-12 was unbelievably stupid and very capricious with refusing to take in BYU, Boise State, a lot of the other teams that could have kept that league afloat. The Pac-12 wrote its own death warrant. The Pac-12 built its own coffin. The Pac-12 dug its own grave. I'm also going to prepare for the words, Tennessee Martin is going to die today. How so? Who are they playing? Georgia? If they're playing Georgia, then yeah, they're fucked. I mean, basically any team that plays Georgia has got to either bring their A game or they're going to get deleted. The people who are sitting here telling me, yeah, so there are some people who are saying, oh yeah, Georgia's going to fall off this year. No, Georgia's earned the #1 spot until proven otherwise. They're a damn good football team, and I think under Kirby, they're going to continue to be a damn good football team. I think right now, #2 in the East might just be South Carolina. I think it'll be either them or the Vols. I think Kentucky is going to struggle. I think Will Levis is better than their new guy. Missouri will continue to be irrelevant. And Vanderbilt might pull off 6 wins this year, but I don't think they're getting much more than that. They struggled with Hawaii, so that's not a good sign. And hey, for what it's worth, the Rainbow Warriors, sometimes they're good, but come on, Vanderbilt. That was a gut check. I don't know how this new Georgia QB is. Maybe it'll work out. Carson Beck, that's the thing. Carson Beck has so many weapons around him that Carson Beck would really have to screw up. And even if he does, they've got Brock Vandagriff, who isn't bad. It's just, they had Staquavius for the last few years. So, jetting out. All right, FM, thank you very much. I think, yeah, it is getting a bit late in the day. I've got a lot else to do. Actually, I really don't. But I do kind of want to eat lunch at some point, and it's starting to get further into the day. I want to continue to clean up around the house and all that jazz. My apologies, again, for getting angry about the audio quality. It pisses me off just as much as it pisses you off, but that doesn't give me the excuse to get angry at any of y'all. So I apologize for that. This thing got chucked across the room. It does appear to, I don't know if it's still working or not, but it got yeeted, so there's that. I'm going to throw it back here because I don't feel like fucking with it right now. Kentucky has Bama and Georgia toward November. It's probably 2 L's right there. Yeah, I think Kentucky will be a 7-win team this year. I think South Carolina will be a 9-win team this year. I think the Gamecocks are going to do pretty well. Now watch them flat out fail against North Carolina today and prove me wrong. But I believe in Beamer. I think he's got something good going there. He's got buy-in obviously from the fan base, but from the players too. I think Spencer Rattler's going to have a bounce-back year because he knows, he's going to the draft at the end of this year. So Rattler's got to ball the fuck out, and I think he knows that. I think the Gamecocks are going to be really good. Hot take, I think South Carolina sneaks into the CFP. Okay, put the crack pipe down. They're not doing that. Okay, they're going to lose to Georgia. It's going to happen. I'm sorry. South Carolina's not that good. I think South Carolina loses to Georgia, either Tennessee or some other Eastern team, and then they drop one other random game this year, or Clemson. I don't know how far they'll go. I predict 9-3. I could see them do 10-2. They're not beating Georgia. That's not going to happen. And even the most insane South Carolina fans admit, okay, we're probably not winning the East. You know, I get it. You know, the swag has been turned on in Columbia, but there's a difference between turning your swag on and hitting that crack pipe. And if you think you're winning the East with Georgia still being Georgia, you're hitting the crack pipe. Tennessee hit the crack pipe last year, and South Carolina took advantage. Simon Fraser, athletic director, is gone. Yay! I hope Simon Fraser sticks around. It's kind of neat to have a Canadian team playing around in Division II, but I understand why it's hard for them. Travel costs are obscene, and you got immigration and customs and all that shit every time you try to play a football game. I think Kentucky will be 7-5. I personally think the competition for biggest tire fire of the SEC this year is a three-way competition. It's going to be either us, Auburn, or Florida. I think one of the three of those teams will do well this year, like 9 to 10 wins. I think the other two are going to be 3 or 4 win gong shows. And I'm not convinced A&M is going to be that 9 to 10 win team. Doesn't look like it's going to be Florida either. So maybe Hugh Freeze works out at Auburn. We have no fucking idea. GNAC was an idiot for cutting football. Fuck yeah. You may need a new associate conference to do it. I mean, you could try balling out, go like the Deion Sanders method and try to go FCS. Join like, you know, a Big Sky conference or something. That would require a shit ton of investment, but you could do it. Anyway, I think that's more or less going to be it for today. Do we have any further questions now that we're at the end of the stream? No, looking pretty good. El Rado Cristiano, welcome on in. At some point there needs to be a matchup between A&M and Utah State, the battle of the Aggies. We already have Utah State versus New Mexico State. That's Aggies versus Aggies. There's a couple other A&M teams named the Aggies. I think the 3 in FBS are Utah State, New Mexico State, and Texas A&M. UC Davis is in FCS. They're called the Aggies. There are a couple others. Last time we were in the Super Region rankings, we were shit in Division II, right? I mean, I'm saying, you know, if you're trying to save the program, you might have to do something a little bit counterintuitive. You're gonna have to pull out a special trick. Leave the lurk while studying. Well, all right. I appreciate you hopping in. You've kind of caught the end of the stream here, unfortunately. Actually, that reminds me. Who are we gonna raid today? By the way, a logical Canadian. Congratulations on making affiliate. Glad I could make that happen for you. I'm not taking 100% credit for that. My audience really deserves that credit, but I'm glad I could help, I should say. Ooh, we got some good choices. Damn. Got Holder Heck, got Sergeant Thunder Thighs. I do like Sergeant Thunder Thighs. He's pretty dope. Hoping that Simon Fraser comes back in 24. Yeah, I'd like to think so too. Yeah, logical. I'm a big fan of helping smaller Twitch streamers out. It feels good to do that. I was really happy that I was able to help you get affiliate. And it's the same sort of thing. You know, when there are people like that, I'm hoping I'm hoping there's ways I can help more streamers like that, because that's a lot more fun to me than anything else. So anyway, I think we're going to go for a raid here. I think we're going to go for Sergeant Thunder Thighs. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to put in the raid message. As always, it's Bull Rush. All right. Now, schedule for the rest of the week. I will be live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Probably going to play a little old school RuneScape tomorrow. just because I'm on a membership bond and I feel like we could do some like quests and shit. It'd be fun, be a good rest day. Monday. Monday is Labor Day here in the United States, and that means I could stream. I have the day off. I could do a pole workout in the mornings. What I don't know is how many of my audience would actually be around to watch it. So I could do it. It's really up to y'all in my audience. So I'm going to ask that in announcements pretty soon after this stream is over. And if you guys want to see it, you have to let me know. I live off of feedback from my audience in my Discord. So that's the way to communicate with me. Please, 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 if you are in my Discord and you think, yeah, I'd love to see you on Labor Day in the morning, let me know. If you let me know, I can address it a whole lot better. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to give Sergeant Thunder Thighs a raid here. So we're going to go here. Raid Sergeant Thunder Thighs. So Sergeant Thunder Thighs does weightlifting as well. He also plays video games. I think he's playing Apex right now. So it should be a lot of fun. That is going to be it for today. So thank you to all thank you to all the followers. Really appreciated that. As always, y'all, make good decisions. Those good decisions form your habits. Those habits form your values. Those values form an ethos. That ethos can be the guide star through the rough waters of life. Much love, y'all. Come in for the hug. Big bull hug. All right. See y'all tomorrow at 9 a.m. for a rest day stream. Cheers. Bull rush. Alrighty. So YouTube, thank you very much as always. We'll see you again tomorrow. Post something like maybe a comment, or if you want to see me lift Monday morning, a little bit of help from you guys there. I do read the comments every so often. I'm going to check. So if you want that, let me know. Cheers.